Yo, just got a medium clue from a bird's nest shop in Redwoods. Yo, what's up, everybody? Plat Chat Overwatch episode 183. We're back. Yes, we're back. We're on a Tuesday today. I know it's a little bit different, but Johnny, who's not here today, has a wedding this week. So yeah, he's preparing for that. And Connor's flying tomorrow.
Dude, I can't wait to see what news we miss out on because we decided to do this one day early. I can't wait.
And there's
honestly, it's been pretty good so far. I think so far today we were pretty on top.
No. It's
everything.
What's coming, Connor?
That's true. What's coming? But I mean, like, what can we do, man? I mean, what can we do? Like, we have to make concessions, okay? If there's nothing we can, unless we want to try to do like another scuffed podcast episode from like Johnny's house.
I can't believe Scott made us do it on Tuesday. Like, it was one of his demands. Like, I'm not coming back to the show.
Yeah,
unless we're doing it one day earlier.
I wasn't appreciaing the Wednesdays. I was like, only Tuesdays these days. I prefer to just make
married man
now.
now.
Could we actually do a live version from someone's house when?
I mean, I'm gonna be in LA, so it's like theoretically possible, but we'll have
live version.
Yeah, we need to fly out Solomon as well
and
to go out there.
5-man.
It's very possible theoretically, but I mean, last time we tried to do one, I remember last time we tried to do it was like with Brennon and Josh still like 2 years ago, and we did it in Johnny's house and it was a disaster.
I'm banned in 12 states, but California is not one of them, so I'll be all right.
Oh yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Scott's not going to be talking for the rest of this podcast.
Dude, Scott's voice
that's all I'm going to say.
Destroyed. How was Japan?
Japan was awesome. It was really good. Yeah, I went with my fam because America's really expensive, and they came to America for our wedding, so they're like, "Let's go to Japan as a fam." So it was good. Did all their normal hits. We went to the Hiroshima Museum, which was cool. That was like I've been to Japan before. But that was like the first time I did that one. That was pretty eye-opening. It was a pretty cool experience. So.
Yeah, I'm glad he's done. It's just you're like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like
obviously it's terrible. Okay,
I know.
Did you pog out? Was it pogging?
I was pogging out the whole time.
I was like, holy whoa! Oh my god. Okay, well that's cool. I wanted to go. I was like really close to going to Masters like Tokyo when they were all out there, you know.
Yeah, I went to opening day.
It didn't work out, but man, I do want to go to Japan very badly at some point. I do desperately.
Wait, have you been? You haven't been, right?
I've never been to Japan. No, I've never been.
You gotta go. It's really
good.
You
gotta do a group trip.
I know. I want to go. I want to go really badly because you know that's what the birthplace of Hochicha, my favorite tea, in Kyoto. Let's go. Did you go to Kyoto?
I did go to Kyoto. We were there for a day. We did that's where we did the 1,000 Torii Gate walk. You know, the one where you walk up that huge ass fucking mountain. There's tons of red Torii gates.
Yeah.
It's a hard walk.
Nice.
My favorite thing I did in Japan when I went a few years
ago
ago was I went to the opening of a Pokemon Center there. So I got a special card for going. It was actually sick. On the only day it rained in Japan when I was there for like 10 days. It fucking rained on that day when I had to wait outside.
I went to Disney Sea as well, and they had a typhoon that day, like a mini typhoon, and it was just we're like there, and I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then like rain and wind just like blowing us away, but it was cool. It was still fun.
Disney Sea is pretty awesome, actually. I didn't expect when I went. I like didn't expect to, you know, it's like Disney, so I'm like, nah, I'll enjoy it, but I'm not gonna like pog out. But I was like, man, this is actually pretty fucking wicked. Like went on most of the rides, and it wasn't too busy the day we went. I'm not sure if it was the same, although with the type.
Well, it was raining. So yeah, the rides were less fun, but it was still fun.
That'd be fun on the ride.
Well, there we go. Now we know. Now I'm jealous. Minus the voice stuff. You sound like me in World Cup 2019 right now.
Yeah, it ain't great. It was getting better, but today I did not wake up well, so I don't know. Maybe I'm getting sick again.
Fine, he's dying.
Yeah, you sounded like you pulled a Bren move.
Don't worry, we got 3 weeks off. Or like 4 weeks off.
Is that how long the break is?
Well, I know it's like multiple weeks for the qualifiers and stuff like that. So it's like roughly around there.
There's World Cup in between there. We'll get onto that a bit later. But I did want to ask you guys what your favorite animal was.
My favorite animal?
Yeah.
The sloth. The sloth, obviously.
That's a classic. Avril.
Big fan of the sloth.
Come back to me, dude. I gotta think about this.
Yeah, why?
Okay.
If it's your favorite, it should be easy to answer.
Penguin.
Okay. Penguin's good. Yeah, all right. Penguin's good. Avril, I need an answer. This bit is going to die if you don't give me an answer.
What if I picked one of yours? What if I said a shark or something? Would you be pissed?
Well, that's fine because you know what? Shark is the correct answer. And I've always wanted to be a shark. I don't know if anybody knew that. They are very fast. They swim through the water at graceful speeds, I'd say. A Mako shark, one of the fastest sharks on the planet. They're very cool, but they're very streamlined. And one day I wish to be very streamlined too. And there's one thing that would really help me become very streamlined, and that is Manscaped.
Oh,
Manscaped.
He did it.
Manscaped.
He segued. Let's go.
I did it. Manscaped is going to help me become as streamlined as a Mako shark and dart throughout the ocean and rescue my hygiene tune in some sort of way. And I do have another question. What is more American than a bald eagle? It's the 4th of July, which is around the corner. And that means a couple of things. Barbecues, pool parties, but last but not least, glizzies. And just so happens today's sponsor is Manscaped, and making sure all of the glizzy gladiators across the nation are groomed for battle on America's birthday. From the sea, where I will be swimming, all looped up, to the shining sea. Yes, sea to the shining sea.
Yep.
I read that
Two
correctly
shinings.
off the document.
Shinings.
Join over 8 million Cube Patriots worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off. And free worldwide shipping with our promo code Plat Chat. Make sure you use that at manscaped.com. And yeah, talk about how smooth you're going to be on this 4th of July. It's not only America's favorite way of, swimming and being really fast and being really smooth.
And appreciating glizzies.
Yeah, appreciating glizzies. But it also comes with a wide variety of different things, including, this is in the Performance Package 4.0, the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, a Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer brief. So even out of the pool and out of the sun, you can have performance in the bedroom too. And a travel bag to hold all of your goodies. Now, the Lawnmower 4.0, it's pretty sick. Let's be real with ourselves here. Their 4th generation trimmer features cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a very strong LED spotlight, so you need to be
so you can see everything.
In case.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you were stuck in like a submersible looking at the Titanic or something, you could use it as a
exactly.
spotlight.
And if they had it on the submersible, then they'd be safe because they have that little spotlight and they can also groom if they really need to. This trim is designed for below the belt, but is also known to care for everything else too, those July mullets. Their Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. These bad boys go together better than Maverick and Goose. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts as well into the Performance Package 2.0. Anti-chafing boxers. If you're going to be stuck under the ocean for a long time, they better be anti-chafing. And the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your crotch comfort to a brand new level. And for my diehard patriots who want to rock a dirty stash or a goatee by the pool, I know one man that loves to do that, Mr. Brennan Hook. Look no further than Manscaped's Brennan Hook. No, it's Manscaped's brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit, including the Beard Hedger Trimmer. You'll be looking like a total American.
Wow. What a read, honestly. What a read. He's done it. He's done it. He managed. Do you know who Maverick and Goose are?
Honestly.
Do you know who Maverick and Goose are?
From Top Gun, right? I've not seen Top Gun.
I enjoyed hearing a British person talk about American patriotism. That got me going.
The thing is, it would have been Johnny doing it other way. It would have been a Swedish person if Johnny was here. Like either way, because of the composition of this show now, there is essentially only one American to ever do any American.
Single American.
And if you are not here, there are no Americans.
Yeah, there will be no Americans on the podcast otherwise. So
Thank God. We are slowly getting rid of all the Americans from Plat Chat and the Overwatch League. Thank God. Thank God.
Now you won't get rid of me. I'm entrenched, okay? Like NATO military bases. You will not be taking me out. Hey, I'm in. I'm staying in, buddy. So it was a good read, though. It was a good read.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it was great. I worked on that for all of maybe a minute before the show went live. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so make sure you go to the website, manscaped.com, and use the code PLATCHAT for 20% off and a little bit of free shipping too. Free worldwide shipping, which is pretty sick. Yeah, all right, let's get on with today's show. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, there's probably more news later in the week, with tomorrow being like classic update day, but we'll get into that later in the week or next week. We'll see what happens. But Overwatch League news, of course, the Showdown. I was going to say Summer Showdown. Fuck me, I wish. Midseason Madness just finished with Defiant taking the W. Now, I wanted to start off with
Defiant.
Who took the W? Who took the
Not
W?
Defiant. I read this thing wrong. I read the thing wrong. Atlanta Rain are dominant. They took the W. I want to actually start off with not the actual tournament itself though, but some roster moves that have happened literally today and a couple of days ago. There's rumors also floating around of different like Vegas Eternal retiring their whole fucking roster and retrialing them. But we'll start with Defiant first. Scott, we'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. It's a surprise to you too. So, Defiant ended up letting go of OG Speedly, Sam, and one of the coaches, Wheats, and signing Opener and Spectra. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Also want to add to this really quickly because it's not in the notes, and maybe we'll talk about it afterwards. It's kind of related to this. But OG and Speedly have also been dropped from the Team USA roster, so that's that.
They've not been dropped from the Team USA roster. They've been moved to the non-starter roster. Two different things.
We'll talk about that later. We got World Cup segment.
Okay, Connor had the PR version of what I said, but the same thing.
Well, I mean, I mean, they're on the roster still. They could still play if they needed to play.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
I appreciate the correction. That is fair enough. But yeah, big changes for the Defiant, and also Majed and No-Hill are finally in Toronto.
Is Majed actually in Toronto?
No, he is. He's actually in Toronto now. He's actually in Toronto.
Because I swear that man's been posting photos of airports for the last like 3 months.
No, he's been baiting. He's been baiting.
He just keeps going to an airport and going home again. His feed,
it's just pictures of airports. He's like, can't wait to be there, can't wait to go there. And I'm like, is the man actually in Toronto or not?
No, he is. There was pictures of him with No-Hill and like the boys and such. Like he's actually there. He's just been baiting for like 2 months.
Because for some reason as well, he was also in Newcastle. Who the fuck willingly goes to Newcastle?
Well, I think he was there for like when they played a match and Newcastle gave him better ping because it was like he was in the UK playing on an East Coast server versus being in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense of being in the UK.
That's why he's
Newcastle's a weird space to go.
Airport photos because he's flying to Newcastle.
Yeah. He's going to Newcastle
doing
again.
That. But yeah, he is thankfully in... There you go. Just the fucking middle of nowhere, bro. Well, not the middle of nowhere. Fucking Newcastle, but he wants. Beautiful architecture. I don't know about the city though.
That's true.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. So Sermajed obviously being in fucking Toronto helps. But did anybody else see reactions to this? These drops, OG Speedy Sam and shit. Because from what I saw, everybody's just like, this is the worst decision they could have ever made. I'm like, this team is not performing at all. Like,
I mean, I saw the reactions were more mixed than that. I feel like there was like most people were like, okay, this makes sense, but then people were mostly upset about. I saw the most pushback on Sam's dropping.
Yeah,
I think everyone was more okay with the other two. People were mostly pushing back on like Sam, because they felt like he had. People, they essentially made a narrative because Sam talked a lot in the cameras on Overwatch League. Everyone was like, Sam really wants to be there and win. The other ones don't care. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a very weird thing to assume based off just looking at his like point of view and a camera on the match day, which you only get snippets of. Like, you don't really actually know the environment to that. But
he also went on stream and talked about it a little extensively about like his time on Toronto and like what he was feeling and like how he was doing. So
I think they also said that they weren't planning to drop him, and then they came back a week later and dropped him as well. So like he had a discussion, which is the esports special. The esports special. You're like, yeah, you'll be safe. Don't worry. Week later, oh, actually, we've decided to part ways. And so like that's also very unfortunate because I think rosters, you shouldn't be guaranteeing people stuff if you're not gonna like hold on to that promise. But so I do agree that is a very that's some poor form. And I know sometimes it's out of the hands of certain people. Of like sometimes coaches will be like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this," and the GM or some management will be like, "No, we need to it has to happen," type of thing. But it is unfortunate that they told him that he was probably going to stay, and then they came back and were like, "Actually, you're getting dropped." So
maybe they
kind
didn't
of
want
a
to leak stuff. Like I don't know, like even to their own players, which like obviously sucks because the players should be informed. Like they definitely shouldn't say you're going to be fine, but like they should be like, "Oh, we're considering things," but like. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't tell a player that they're safe and be like, no, don't worry, go to rest easy. We're not going to cut you. And then like they wake up to getting cut. Like that's just pretty fucked up. But like in general, I agree with you, Jack. Roster moves needed to happen for the Toronto Defiant. Like we only have 2 major tournaments. They did. I don't even know what their record was. 2-4. Like it was a pretty poor record at the end of the day. And they just didn't perform very well. So they need to make changes. I agree with the Sam one. Like I don't think Sam performed poorly. And I think they could have kept him on the roster, but with the additions that they made with Opener and Spectra, I wouldn't see Sam getting playtime anyway. So at this point, like, I like the changes that they're making, even though it sucks that some players feel like they barely even got a shot on the team. But that's just the result of the format more than the result of, anything else.
They won 3 games.
They went. They went. What
Was it 3 and 5?
3-6.
Yeah.
Do we count Pro-Am?
How many games?
No, don't count Pro-Am. Pro-Am shouldn't count Pro-Am.
They had 8 qualifying games and 1 knockout game, and of those, they won 3 matches. Those 3 matches were New York, Valiant, and Vegas.
And also, did you see that there was someone released an analysis of their strength of schedule, and they had one of the easiest strength of schedules, and they still finished with a 3 and 5 record. Like, imagine if they had actually had like a much harder schedule. There's potential they could have lost like almost every match, right, with their performance level. Like, that's like, obviously it's extrapolation per se, but like if you're going 3 and 5 with a really easy strength of schedule, then like what is it going to look like when you have a hard strength schedule? Like, this is just like the team clearly was not performing. I also personally, on the Sam Speedily thing, I'm like, I think it's almost more unfair to Speedily than it is Sam, because Speedily was forced to learn Tracer and play Tracer for this team when he really was never a Tracer player,
Yeah.
Like, Sam and him, if anything,
They
had
don't
much
have
closer
one.
roles. Yeah, they don't. Well, now they do, right?
But that was the criticism the whole time. Like, everyone's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this team is a Tracer player. And dude, this team kept reassuring us, like, no, we have 3 Tracer players.
They did say that a lot.
Like, it's like, oh, it's unfair that Speedily had to. No one fucking played the hero. It's like somebody had to learn.
No, it's
right?
more so just I just think Speedily, personally, I think Speedily like has had a rough go of it when he had such a promising arc in Contenders, and in Overwatch League he just never got to play any of the heroes that he played in Contenders. Essentially, he just literally never got to play his hero pool for the most part. Like,
What
and
is
then
the
Sam
hero
and him
pool?
also.
It's just the normal.
It's
normal
projectile DPS.
The problem is, it's the same thing as Sam. Like, both of them are good at, like,
Yes.
not exactly overlapping like the major strengths of their roster, but like they're both pretty much flex DPS players that don't play Tracer. And the problem
Which
is
is a
that's
huge problem.
that's a hard hero pool to have in the league these days. Every player, DPS player, pretty much needs to have a Tracer in their wheelhouse at this point, just for flexibility. And they just didn't
Especially
have that
flex
across
DPS.
the board. Their best Tracer player was their hit scan player, and that was a big problem they ran into.
Every
everything else is
team
fine.
that like has any like ability to win and be good, their flex DPS player must also be a Tracer player. If you don't have that, you're gonna suffer. So like, you can't be in a situation where your hit scan player is also your Tracer player. That is gonna be really bad.
But I mean, clearly the roster had other issues than that.
There were probably, well, when you're losing and you have high pressure, I'm sure there were internal issues. I don't want to speculate too. We have no idea really, but maybe, I guess there were rumors that shit could have gone down. I mean, OG basically at some point leaked him being dropped. He was like drunk on stream or something, and he just leaked himself being dropped. I don't know. Sounds like something definitely went down, but it doesn't surprise me when your team is struggling as much as it was. I can talk a little bit more about the Opener Spectra pickup, given that I have a little bit more insight on their history. I did want to ask, I was like, is this change enough in terms of them picking up these 2 players? Because the other point to look at was, well, Kaluja is still the only tank on this team. Is that fine? Like, I haven't seen as many Toronto games as you guys.
I think that gives them this move if Opener and Spectra perform well, like some of what we've been, they're performing at the level that we've been seeing them playing recently. I think this move gives them enough to at least where they will not they shouldn't anymore be losing to teams like the London Spitfire in a non-rush meta. Like, it should give you enough firepower to be like, okay, and flexibility to be like, okay, you can now beat teams you should definitely be beating with the level of talent you have. Like, it just guarantees that they won't become like a for sure bottom tier team, but it does not necessarily move them into the upper echelon in any means, in my opinion.
Are they fine?
I'm with AVRL.
Are they fine on the tank position, or?
Yeah, like,
I don't know. I don't think Kaluja. So here's the thing. I don't think Kaluja's had a great tank performance, but I don't think it's really hard. It's like, once again, it's like the conversation between Donghorn and Fearless, right? Like, or Donghack and Fearless. Like, everyone's like, wow, Donghack's really, really good, which, yeah, he definitely impressed. But also, Donghack currently has like one of the best teams in the world around him to support him. And in that grand final that between Houston and Atlanta, Fearless, in my opinion, honestly played better Winston than Donghack. But the thing is that his team couldn't support him as well. I think Kaluj, personally, because he looked pretty good on Shock the previous year. He looked way worse now with Defiant than he does with Shock.
Sure.
Like, I just don't think that the team was built enough to support him and like make him look better. I'm not saying that Kaluja's performance right now is inspiring, that it's going to push him, like they're going to have a really great season with it. But I don't think Kaluja is necessarily a humongous problem if there's just a better team to support him, you know? Because like, and especially on the coordination level, they're too, like even beyond the individual components level, like that team, clearly something was going wrong with that team because they were some of the most uncoordinated messes you've ever seen, you know, and they were getting caught with very basic mistakes that other teams weren't getting caught with. And like, so something hopefully will change that in this realm too, where maybe the communication changes, like maybe, you know, the coordination changes, like something that would make this team more cohesive, because I just don't think Kaluja was the only problem.
I think that can be said across every single player. Like, I don't think any single player on Toronto was like, they played atrociously all the time. Like, I actually think it was a compounding factor of all of these players weren't super comfortable in the role that they were playing, it felt like, other than like Ultraviolet on the Ana. Like, I think Hydron on the Sombra didn't look great, and we were in a pretty hard Sombra meta. We, and like, you know, Sam as well, when he came in, you know, Speedily wasn't obviously super comfortable on the Tracer. OG was really struggling to play the Brig and just stay alive. And then Kaluj Winston, like all of those things compound. Even though they're not massive weaknesses individually, I think they work together as a team, and that's why they were losing to teams that feel like they really shouldn't lose to.
I'll very quickly speak on, before we move to the next team, because we've got to go along, I bet, but I'll speak on not Wheats, Opener and Spectre a little bit here, as two players that are from Korea and all that kind of stuff. So one of the questions that the community has been asking is like, have they played on mixed teams? The answer is yes. Both Opener and Spectre have a lot of experience on mixed teams. Opener actually spent one of his early seasons in Contenders Australia with Kufra, I believe. That was one of the seasons he played on, so he does speak English. Spectre speaks really good English, actually. I've actually DM'd him back and forth when I've asked him stuff in the past, and he speaks good enough English that like we can converse pretty well. And he's also played on Team CC, which was a mixed roster, and they spoke English on that team as well. And Spectre also has a history with no-hill, so this would have been the no-hill influence finally getting Spectre. But Spectre is also just a really good player. Like, if anyone tuned into the matches from Dreamers in the knockout games that he played versus our teams, Spectre was really fucking good. Like, he was insane. If you want to solve the Tracer problems on the Defiant, Spectre solves that for you. He really does. And on top of that, Spectre plays an absolutely sick Echo as well, and Genji, all the stuff that you would expect from a Flex DPS play. So essentially, he plays the Flex DPS pool that you expect from Flex DPS players in 2023, but then also with the Tracer, which is part of the expectation. That's super important. My only concern is how long it's going to take these guys to get to Toronto. I don't know what the visa process looks like. They might end up playing on ping for a while. That could be an issue. And yeah, that might slow them down in terms of the second half of the season. So yeah, the question mark is how quickly they can get to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they can just force West Coast games if needed.
Which would still not be ideal. That wouldn't be ideal to play West Coast, because like they still have all their other players in Toronto and East Coast.
Exactly.
So
it's a bit of a tough situation. Spectre Hydron seems like a pretty nutty DPS line.
Yeah.
I assume Hydron's going to permanently now, which is going to be a good thing. I do want to quickly move on though, because Nuge literally just dropped like 5 seconds ago.
Well, we've had two good pieces already.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yay!
Love doing it on a Tuesday.
Chandu Hunters officially exited the Overwatch League. This is on GG Recon.
Was
by
it
Yiska.
Unofficial before? I don't understand. Like,
it was unofficial before.
They were trying to
because
get him back in. Yeah,
they were trying. They essentially were like,
Yes.
"Yeah, you can come on back whenever."
Yes.
this is like Chengdu saying, "I'm out," and Overwatch League's like, "Don't worry, babe. We'll just take a break. You know, you'll call me back." And then there's, oh shit, she ain't calling me back. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Don't do
So
action
like
on.
obviously at the start of the year, it was like a big question whether they're going to come back because their parent company is what's happening? Their parent company?
Well, their parent company is
Huya
essentially
is-
bankrupt.
I think Huya's
has it
still.
been
Are they
liquidated
still
yet?
operating? No, I think they're still
Yeah, that's-
operating.
Okay,
They're
on
pretty
their way
much
out.
they got rolled and smoked financially, and on top of that, then the Overwatch lost the ability to be published in China. So it was the combination of both those things. I think that just absolutely rolled them.
kind of left with the Hunters actually officially leaving the league. Although I don't know about you guys, but it's like, okay, I don't think this is cause for like.
No one saw them coming back. Like
exactly.
No
I
one
just
was
don't see a
expecting them
point
to
where
pull it around.
because I know the instant like reaction is going to be, league's dead. But then it's like, hang on a second, who the fuck saw this even happening? Like them coming back to the actual league. Like, come on now. Was it really going to happen? I'm not sure.
I mean, it's more
especially with
so
how
like,
their
what
company
does
was doing.
the president, like, what does this mean for the league moving
Yes.
forward? That's the bigger question, I think, because like, I think you're right. Like, it was fairly obvious that Chengdu was probably, especially with the issues for them financially as an organization and
Exactly.
the issue with Overwatch in China, like, it was unlikely they were going to return. Very unlikely. But like, what does that mean for the league? Because like, how do you continue to like, does this mean that we're now fully committed to this the East will have this contender style open circuit almost, where teams can go play in the Overwatch League against and like be promoted? What does that mean for like, because also part of the reason that part of the reason that it seems for this like group bargaining action that was led by Toronto Defiant against the Overwatch League was also what happened in the East region, right? Where they're having these contender teams then come play against the Overwatch League counterparts. So like, what does that mean for the ecosystem of the league? Like, there's a lot of like far-reaching implications, I think, for it. But it's not necessarily doomium like, oh, Chengdu's dead. Was like, yeah, they were not going to make it. Unfortunately, they had taken like 2 to the chest and they had not made it to the ER in time. But like, I don't think that like, I don't know what this means for the league overall, though. There's a lot of questions with Chengdu's exit that have to now be solved for like a more permanent future. Like, what does it mean for the ecosystem forward?
Yeah, and it also opens the door of what happens to some of these other teams as well, because there are multiple other teams that I'm sure would like to exit. And with this whole Toronto bargaining deal that led to the changes of like the finances and the loan forgiveness and that kind of stuff, like, will we see other teams at the end of this season also drop out? And then what does the league look like after that, right? Like, is this just like the first of few dominoes to fall?
Yeah, that's the big question. I think the thing is, man. I feel like over the last couple of years, at least, there has been like a severe breakdown in communication on like, just even on our side of things, just not even on the talent side of things, to be honest with you, but nothing really flows through the pipeline at all. Like, I feel like most of the time we find out things the same as the public, and maybe that should be the case, maybe that shouldn't be the case. I'm not really here to argue that, but it feels like this kind of stuff does come out of left field, and the Overwatch League will obviously make a statement about the Chengdu Hunters and what. It just feels like we're left in the dark most of the time. We are waiting for leaks to come out. We are waiting for X, Y, and Z. And especially when it comes to format changes going from year to year, it's very unlikely that I think we'll find out any information on how it's actually going to look until maybe a few weeks before it actually ends up happening. And like that, I think, is an issue in of itself. But I don't know. It just doesn't inspire a lot of like confidence in the league as a whole, and just communicating that kind of format change earlier on before the season starts, and a lot before the season starts, like not after grand finals, sure, but like maybe a month after grand finals, so like, hey, next year it's going to look like this. Like, I would love to see that kind of communication, because over the last few years it's just not been like that at all, and everybody's always questioning what's happening next, and I don't think that's a good thing.
I'm gonna come in with a glass half full position on this, just to just have a difference of opinion, I guess. Not even a difference of opinion, just a different angle of the situation. I think I said this in previous episodes. Teams that want to drop out, please leave, because I'm sick of having teams in the league that do not give a fuck. Clearly don't give a fuck. I'll even say the names: Eternal, Valiant. Like, nothing against the players. They've been put in a bad spot. There's plenty of orgs that just don't actually want to be here, and I'd rather they be gone. We already know that Guard are dead, so they're guaranteed to be gone at the end of the year. So I mean, that one you can just So you're addressing the
super chat that got asked, which was like how since Glads did not qualify and Gorillas didn't win any tournaments, so you think they're doomed?
They said they're doomed. They announced.
I think they could win everything and they would still be.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm just
the guard
organization.
The guard organization literally said they were exiting at the end of the year. Did they not? They said
no,
they
did.
Exiting.
They did say that if they did not find a buyer, they will be leaving.
Well, they don't even need to find a buyer now because their fees have been waived.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, they already said they were going to be leaving no matter what, like because it was going to be a Chengdu situation, right? Like they just didn't have the org was dead, like they didn't have any money to operate. So
I'm fully keen for a system that's closer to VCT Ascension, where maybe we integrate tier 2 a little bit. It opens up it solves one of the biggest critiques that we've had against our league in terms of opening up the ecosystem. I think it makes tier 2 really valuable. Yeah, and it gets rid of the orgs that don't give a fuck. So I think it's a win-win. Obviously there's some downsides there, but overall for the sustainability and the health of the league, I think it's a better direction to go in, personally.
I think in general, everyone can agree that Overwatch esports would do very well if we even remove the barrier of tier 1 to tier 2. Like if they're esports always used to function that the best teams always qualified because there was usually open qualifiers. And yes, the teams at the very top usually auto qualified if you like do well enough in a tournament. But essentially it provides a basic way of doing relegation that the best teams will always be at every game. And if Overwatch can go in that direction, that's huge because we keep running into this issue over the last few years. It's been accentuated really bad of like teams don't care about making the best roster anymore. And then they're just anchoring down the entire league with poor performances. That makes the whole league worse. It makes games worse. Everything's just worse. So if we can get to a point in which tier 2 teams can start coming in and the league can find a way to have that sort of cross matches happen, it would be huge for the league and Overwatch esports because I think we've been hamstringing ourselves for the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conundrum though because it's like the teams that have currently bought into the ecosystem that are interested potentially in still being there, not the ones that just want to leave, but the ones that could still be persuaded, like they need incentives to remain essentially. Especially with the future, with all the currently unpaid fees waived, if we're going to go into that full system. And we've talked about this before, but essentially, if you're wanting to have partners in the system for all the teams that are currently have like a history and a structure, there's going to have to be some incentive to make them continue. And that's going to be like that's kind of on the league and on Blizzard to be like provide that incentive, right? Because like prize pool isn't really enough. You need the ability, there's going to be a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more costs that goes. I mean, you have to pay to go to events, right? So it's like where, there's costs just even competing to get your own prize pool, correct? So it's like, I think there's a lot that can be leveraged still to potentially keep teams in. But I do agree that like bad teams going, like teams that don't care anymore, it would be best for the league if they're gone. Because you can't get buyers in this environment. Like, no one's going to be buying teams of any sort. No one's purchasing stuff. I mean, even Valorant Tier 2, they were having issues with keeping orgs invested in the model right now. Now, they're revamping that, so we'll see what that looks like. But, like, right now, even Valorant, which has had a far greater integration, they have trouble keeping teams that aren't part of the partnership system interested,
Major problem with franchising as a whole, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so it's just an issue of like in general though, like what are the economics of it here? So like there's a lot to be figured out. And I think I do give the league a little bit of leeway simply because like they're all trying to figure it out at the same time. And it's all a legal battle, not just a format battle. There's literally like lawyers and legal battles and courtrooms involved with like, how do we do this? So like, I do give them some leeway, but I do agree with the communication issues with that. So we'll see. We'll see. I am sad that Chengdu's gone, though. It was a great franchise.
Yeah.
Great franchise.
Good memories.
Really, yeah, great memories associated with it. So it's a shame because I do think that, like, China, I do hope that we can get some replacement for, like, Chinese Overwatch in there because I think Chinese Overwatch is, like, having that Chinese representation in the fans and the players is a great thing for the overall ecosystem. And Chengdu really brought a lot of interest from Chinese fans. It felt like, even though obviously I wasn't insanely plugged into that particular scene. So I would like to hopefully find that there's some good replacements coming up through that pipeline potentially.
Yeah, let's quickly move back to the roster shuffles because there's been a ton. Obviously, with the Chengdu news, it was quite important to talk about. But Dynasty, yes.
Little P!
Little P
Thank God.
is gone.
Thank God.
So
Thank God?
profit
What?
and
I
profits.
don't know what. Okay, nothing against him personally, but I hated the naming situation. So
Oh, yeah. Okay. I
mean,
thought
it's
you were like, you
so
hated this guy.
I
Yeah,
know, like, I'm glad he's
Go
gone.
on. No,
this
no,
guy
no.
was the worst.
okay, well he stole money from. No, I'm kidding. But no, it's fine. He played okay. He was an alright player.
He was just
But
fine.
I think you know what? I'm glad that Dynasty are proving they are not one of the teams that don't give a. Clearly they do give a fuck because they are trying to shuffle their roster. They're like, we're not satisfied with our results in the first half of the year. Let's do something about it. And so they also picked up Easy Khan recently, and dude, Easy Khan is another player that popped off so hard in the knockouts. So Easy Khan was on Dreams as well. Easy Khan and Spectra as a duo, so nasty, and I'm so happy that both of them got picked up. By the way, all this talk from NA, people keep hearing about how the talent's dried up. Yeah, apparently the rest of the league doesn't agree. Apparently the teams don't agree. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, EasyHun, sick player. Sonjin got dropped as well. I think there's a rumor about Isumin maybe going, but that's still a rumor for now. I don't know who they'll get to replace him. Fairly certain Sonjin was just a 30-day contract anyway. This guy was just on for 30 days to cover.
He wasn't perma,
Big P's. Big P was taking a break.
That was for
so.
Big P's absence. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that Big P absence of like how the timing of all that is kind of like, obviously I don't understand the situation, but it's like, I don't know, like it kind of sucks that like Prophet kind of had to drop out like towards the end, like, and how that like affected Seoul as a whole, that they're just having to throw in subs. But I don't know, like I don't really understand the whole context of it all. So it just like, because my whole reason I put Seoul Dynasty so low is that I said Prophet wouldn't make it through the whole season, and then like that kind of thing happened, and then they make pretty sweeping changes across the team. Like we don't know if that like those things are connected. For all we know, it could have been some personal reasons. But I did want to say to that, like, it goes to show, like, straight off the bat, we integrate contenders with Overwatch League, and you automatically see a pipeline of tier 2 being able to get into tier 1. Or so many players from Dreamers and O2 Blast perform well in the knockouts, and they automatically get put into the league on the teams that are struggling. Like, that's instant value of like showing the effectiveness of these kind of tournaments. So it's awesome to see these players get up, because they deserve to be there. They showed they can compete.
What does that mean for Dreamers though? Because Dreamers still retain a slot. Remember, the top 4 knockout teams, was it 6? Maybe it's 4. They get to go straight into the regular season when we come back from the break. That includes Dreamers. And Dreamers have just now lost 2 players. Or is it more? Opener from O2. O2 are rumored to be... So yeah. Openers is gone, and Marvel's rumored to be going to Glad. So O2's losing a bunch of players. I'm curious about what that means for those teams. I guess they just replace those members, but it does really change. Like, part of me feels like, bro, if you're going to change up too much your roster, you should just drop back into a qualifier, because now, like, the team that actually qualified is not even the same team. That's just kind of my take on that.
Then you're punishing you're punishing a team for being successful. Like, that's so bad if you're the Dreamers organization.
Exactly. So there's both angles are correct though, right? Because you are correct, but at the same time, it's like, well, then the team that gets the free slot is a completely different team. So what does it mean, right? Because I see it from both ways, and I don't know what the correct solution is.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't really like an easy solution either way. So I mean, realistically, if these orgs, if
Dolman's gone as well,
because Dreamers is Dreamers a actual organization? I know O2 is.
No,
so
Dreamers,
that's the thing.
Right?
Dreamers is just a friends team.
It's just a friends team, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the thing, is like, so this is something that people discussed like ages ago under like the academy system, and like back when tier 2 was a lot more poppin', like what had a lot more investment essentially, and of like these teams probably, if we're gonna protect the team slots, teams should also be doing stuff in their best interest, and also they should be writing contracts for all the players, even if it's a friends team. That way you can still receive like, that way you could theoretically still get like a buyout from a team, or like at least something. Because like if you're just gonna run a friends team, personally, I don't think you should be protected if you lose like a majority of the roster, like a large portion of the roster. But if it's like an organization, you want to give them value to retaining their slot for winning, because they're investing resources into it, you know. And it sounds like kind of hypocritical, but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, like that's just how the cookie crumbles, because like you guys on the friends teams aren't taking any advantages to make you, you know, to essentially be like, you should retain the slot. You're not investing anything other than like that is like tangible per se.
You also don't want a buyout if you're a player on a friends team,
No,
because
you
a
don't want a
buyout
buyout
makes you
either.
less valuable, like way less valuable to teams.
So
because
it's like,
then
it's
they have
all
to pay them.
double-edged sword, realistically. Like, I guess like everyone might just have to come to the conclusion that maybe we're just gonna have to let tier 2 stay as it lies, and just, if a team does well, they keep their slot, and that's probably just the safest, easiest solution, even if they lose the majority of the players. Like, that's just probably the
What if they lost
way.
all 5? If they lost all 5 starting players, should they keep the slot?
They lost 3, right? Like they lost 3 of their starting
like,
players.
Well,
hypothetically,
if they lost
because
all
they
5
could
of the
have lost
players, then they don't have, then
team
realistically
doesn't
they don't have a
exist.
claim. The team doesn't exist anymore. There's no, because it's not an org. It's just a team. It's a friends team.
Yeah.
So
then
like
they
at that
would
point,
lose
they
the
could
slot, you
probably
think?
at that point, I think they just probably
Okay.
promote a different
Fair
team.
enough. Yeah, fair enough.
So it's different when it's not
Makes
like
the
an
most sense.
org per se. So, you know, I think Soul's moves overall, this is part of the stuff when I hinted about the drama. This is part of the moves. It's like Little P was supposedly gonna be gone. There's like, you know, there's been some rumors theoretically that they could even drop like Lee Soo-min and stuff like that. So like there's and then like that's part of the like pretty much APAC. There's been a lot of movement over there. What's a lot of movement back there? And
What's
that's
the movement?
APAC.
Yeah.
It's APAC moving essentially, and so I do think that Seoul is clearly looking to make some moves because the team. I don't know. I said at the beginning of the year, when Johnny was heavily defending, he's not here to defend himself to be fair, but little P. But like I did not like the Seoul Dynasty roster. I didn't like it. I didn't understand why they built it that way.
I think only Johnny liked it. He was the only one that liked it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the only
no,
guy
I
that
know.
liked
That's
it.
the thing. But there were other
90%
people.
sure.
I think there were other people that also were interested in that roster. Is what I'm saying. So just in the beginning, and like at the end of the day, we're still commenting on it. And like I just don't think I don't know what their plan was with this roster. I don't understand what their plan was. I don't really get like what they saw in it.
In their defense, I think they would have been better in a lot of other metas. Like I think Lil P, he like we could be talking about him very differently if we were in a hit scan meta. But we were in a Sombra meta and he just wasn't good at Sombra. Like, and that's just the reality of it. And I think they had to play a Winston meta with Void as a tank. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of things went against them with the roster that they built. But that's why you don't build a shorthanded roster where if you do get a certain meta, you just aren't good.
Yeah, this meta has really been make or break for so many teams. It feels like Seoul Dynasty the same, man. Like, it just worked in favor of Atlanta Reign. Although their team is sick anyway, but like, it really worked in their favor that it was a Sombra meta and they have a good Tracer and they have a good tank. They have good tanks, plural, like, and their backline obviously is world class. And Seoul Dynasty on the opposite end. Yeah, like you said, if it was hit scan, then maybe.
Yeah, but I still think they could have potentially. I mean, like technically, they could have had options. That theoretically, maybe they could have forced like more the Hanzo, like for this team. Cool. Obviously, like I think they had options to make it work still, like more like and similar to like other teams where they try to find that balance, like Spark and Charge and stuff. Though Spark kind of learned Sombra a little bit more, but I don't know. It's just everything across the board seemed kind of dysfunctional. I also don't think that like Belos Rias had a particularly good year. It was like. Because I wasn't, even though Bells Rio was like pretty decent on what was Fusion the year before, I still felt like there probably could have been better options. But you know, it is what it is. They're trying to make moves to fix it. So like, I'm glad they're at least trying to make some other moves around it.
Shows they care, and I like that.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing. And it's nice for the fans too, in a way, right? It's just like, okay, my team's making moves. Like, it's a good thing. They're not just like kind of squandering the opportunity, which is good. Another team that did actually make a move recently, Justice. So FD got let go, and Dongon is getting picked up for.
Was FD got a problem?
Flatline.
This one's weird to me. Is he an issue?
He was okay.
He's okay. He was okay. Yeah.
I think they had issues where, like, well, we saw it when they decided to sub like Mirror into the Ana so that Teru could play the Brig and stuff like that. Like FD God, I think, struggled with the same issue that has always been the narrative of him, is that he has a great Lucio, but everything else outside of that Lucio pick is sort of questionable. And every single time he's played for a team, it feels like the team doesn't want to put him on that Brig and they try and find solutions around that. I don't think he was awful, but you know, if they can find a great signing, and we know they did find a great signing, then I think it's worth it for the change for the Washington Justice.
And I think this one must hurt for Getting Maze because he's been batting for FD God for a while. So the fact that he has to let him go,
the roster still has like some pretty core issues too, where like, don't get me wrong, I don't think, like I said, I think FD God still hasn't really found their footing in the post Lucio, like post only Lucio world, right? Like, I think it could fit like a really good role of like if they had like a New York type of situation where it's like, okay, you only come in to play Lucio, like Lep, and like our comp plays only Lucio when you're in, and then like we have someone else to play the other roles. But it's just very hard with the current ecosystem of like how Overwatch League works and competitive Overwatch, like how you want teams to be built. But they also still don't have, they're still on this like mirror Binbest thing, and by mirror Binbest I mean they're on the mirror thing, and they still have Binbest in the roster not playing any main tanks at all. It's just mirror playing essentially. So it's like, why, I guess, like, do they have other options for that too? Because otherwise, like, what is their grand plan? Are they hoping for like, are they just hoping for a Rhine meta essentially?
Wait,
like,
did Ben Best not play main tank for them the last week I was away? I didn't watch any Washington matches.
It's been mirror full time. Mirror full time.
Pretty much mirror.
No Binbest. No Binbest. It's been only mirror. So it's like, it's been interesting to see like what does that mean for this future of this team too? If like they're making one sub, which is great, but like, are they going to make others? Because I think this will help them potentially if they find someone that's going to perform better, and they think it's going to make them, you know, have more synergy. But like, what is their tank line situation going to be too? Like, that's going to be something that's pretty interesting, because I think mirror is great, has great flexibility, it fits a particular role, but I don't think mirror is that all-arounder tank player that you need necessarily.
Feels like he's always been kind of a slot in for whatever the team kind of needs. When it was back in like Overwatch 1, he was a DPS, but he played DPS, tank, and support. He was like the first person in the league to ever play all three roles in an official. And then when he was on like DPS full time, it was like, okay, projectile, but like mainly Doom, a little bit of like Hanzo, and that's about it. So he feels like the role player in a way that he just kind of fits in whatever the team kind of needs him. And whether that's good, it's great to have that flexibility in that you can play all the roles and like you can play a lot of things, but it's never going to be at the peaks in which you see people like Fearless, like, or Hawk, you know, like sick Winston player, like world best Winston player, and then Hawk, like his diva's ridiculous, right? So it's just kind of a middle ground of all the different tanks that he does play.
Just quick tangent, then we're going to go back to Justice. You just reminded me of something because you talked about Mirror playing all three roles. Color Hex, as of like 6 hours ago, has now got a contenders championship on all three roles, DPS, tank, and support. Just wanted to throw that out there. I just remembered.
All right,
so
legend.
He's But anyway, yeah, Dongan being picked up. He played well again. This Dreamers squad though, they really succeeded. 3 players got picked up, and Dongan's played in EU and NA before this. So
EU?
before Dreamers, he played on like Sheer Cold, Timeless, this Angels team as well. I don't want to spread misinformation. I could be wrong about this, but I'm fairly sure that Dongan used to actually live in Europe or something like that, which is why he was playing on EU teams, because you could not play on EU teams from Korea on that ping. So this guy's been around the block.
Yeah, what? I did not.
I mean,
know
that
he played
Dreamer
in the EU
squad
team.
definitely had a run. Contenders for
Yeah.
sure, right? I think they all definitely showed that they can hang with them all. I mean, I'm excited to see them all play in the Overwatch League. I think that they're all pretty much every move that's been made has been moves I can kind of agree with where they're going. You know, like I don't think any of these have been like moves where I'm like, oh, okay, like I think this is a complete downgrade or like this doesn't make any sense. It's more so like all the rosters they're going to still have potential other issues to fix, but like it's hard to get every piece at the exact same time necessarily.
Yeah, the question I think for a lot of these teams as well, especially North America, is like, how quickly can they turn around these visas? Because like, you know, there's the rumors that like certain other teams are looking at players, but they don't want to have the issue of not having a player local and having to deal with the visa process. Because we know sometimes it can take a really long time. Like, especially with some players, like, was it Surmager just got into Canada? Like, that took them an entire stage. We only have...
He's from Saudi.
Yeah,
from
obviously
harder.
different, but like, you know, issues can arise is sort of my point. Like, we only have another 4 months until the season ends. Like, a visa process can take 4 months if certain circumstances do happen, which would suck for certain teams.
It is sometimes difficult as a British person to get a fucking American visa.
Well.
Like an Australian person to get a fucking visa. And like in the grand scheme of things, I think America and the UK and like Australia, like these kind of countries, like they're pretty close in terms of friendship, I guess. I don't know. Their friendship level is level 80 out of 100. So like even those kind of countries, it's pretty fucking difficult. You'll find like a lot of European countries have like, it's pretty easy to work in different places and stuff, but from other countries to America, it's sometimes fucking hard. Like,
but you can blame you can blame King George III. That's your problem.
I don't. Well, yeah, sure.
So true.
Jack's like,
I mean, technically, you can blame on multiple angles too, because you know, then also because part of the EU thing, right, was that every European Union citizen for the most part could work in their country, and now you technically can't do that as a member of the UK, as a citizen of the UK now, right?
Nah, it's still pretty easy. Like it's not.
Easy?
It's not that difficult. Yeah, it's like us in Australia too. I'm assuming New Zealand's the same thing, but it's
I have
like
no idea.
It's kind of fucking chill. Like it's not
Never
difficult
tried.
to get like a work visa
No
or
idea.
anything like that because we're very.
If you're
close
a part
in
of
terms
the
politics and stuff.
Commonwealth, there's like a bunch of
the
ease
Commonwealth
and
is
that
like
kind of stuff.
very
You have to
easy
know
to
the
get
secret
visas.
handshake and like
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
exactly.
walk in the tea and
The
such.
fish bump
Okay.
into
If you don't do the
into
handshake, they
yeah,
just like
exactly.
deny you at the door. They're just like, no, sorry.
okay.
Back of the
They'd
line.
be like, okay, so what's a biscuit, huh? What's a biscuit? And then you have to answer the question. Like, okay, makes sense. But
I
overall,
want to touch on this other bit of news like real fast before we get into mid-season madness. We're running a little bit behind, but I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this at length because it is only a rumor and we're not sure yet. But Eternal apparently retrialing their entire roster. So
Custa live reaction.
Okay, no, the thing is, I was looking through Reddit like as we were thinking, just because after Jack said that, I was like, what the fuck? Here's the thing: if you tell players that you're retrialing the whole roster, I would try out. If I was Sam or I was, Speedily, I would try out because I wouldn't sign to that team as like a 6th or 7th player, right? But I would join that team if they said, we're going to retrial everybody and we're going to pick up the best players in trials, because there's a chance that you make a somewhat better team and you can prove yourself. But as long as they're being honest about that and they're willing to drop all 5 of the players that they currently have if they are better trial players. So I'll see it when I believe it. Obviously, this is probably happening, but can they create something in such a short amount of time that's better than what they already had? Probably, but is that better than the LA Valiant, right?
It does say, before AVRL you get onto that, that sources have stated that none of the former Toronto Defiant players have recently, that was recently let go by the org, have participated in those trials. So there might not be a case, but again, sources not 100% confirmed, so worth taking it with a pinch of salt.
Should have VARL trial.
That is
I don't think that's what she's looking to do. Potentially, I don't think that's what she's looking to do. But it is a good backup option theoretically.
Avala. We're going to hold trials. First person signed up. Avala.
Avala in the trials.
I'm going to try myself.
Here's my question then for this. Why? My question is why are we midway through the season and now this is like they realize like, holy shit, guys, we weren't good.
They have a whole month off. This is the only real time, right? Like, when else are you going to do it?
No, I mean, no, it makes sense. It's more so I'm just like, what were they like? Actual Marvel meme yellow text. What were they thinking? Type of thing. Like, what were they thinking? Like, I still just like that's at the end of the day. Like, what was the plan for this roster?
Wait a minute, didn't they do this exact same thing last year? They dropped the whole.
They did.
Oh, they did.
But the thing is, that was a far more understandable situation because it wasn't a roster they had held on to from the previous year. Yeah. This was the same roster, man. This was the same roster. That roster that wasn't good last year. So like, why? Like, it's just I'm glad they're at least willing to make the changes. But like, once again, what were they thinking?
I figured out. This is what they're thinking. Instead of doing a roster reshuffle in the off season like everyone else, they do it mid-season. Because if you think about it, this current Vegas roster got signed mid-season last year, and now at this mid-season they've had a full year. So they're just doing they're doing the American schooling system, The year ends in the middle of the year.
I'm glad they're doing a retrial though, because I also feel like especially with the talent pool available, there are some options, and like I don't know, like I still think they don't have to necessarily change. Like like some of the players, I think they could still like, because I do want to see some of the Vegas players find new homes. I still think there are some talented players on that roster. It's just clear.
I don't think anyone's gonna sign him though. Like,
I mean, I don't think I wouldn't be with the current level of talent, because I doubt Vegas is going to pay for visas. They're probably going to stick with the North American roster more than likely. Like someone that like doesn't have visas. And like when you think about it, like right now, there's the only people that you could really get are essentially for backline are the Vegas backline, unless you get OG, which the rumors circling around is that OG seems like he's essentially wanted to retire. So like who knows? So like realistically, there's really not a ton of options for some of these positions anyways, if you're trying to stick with a fully North American squad.
Especially if the best players aren't signing up, because they're like, so for some people, and this isn't a bad assumption, is that like Vegas is like a toxic team. Like, you don't want to go there. It will hurt your career. Like, if Vegas aren't able to convince people that this is a team worth going to, all the best players aren't going to go there. And that was one of the issues they had last year when they had to fill it halfway through, is people just didn't want to join their team. And if that happens again for this restructuring, this is why you rebuild in the off season instead of rebuilding in the middle of the season, because you're setting your team up for failure, because any team that they do put together is going to have minimal practice time again. It's going to be the same excuse that we talked about Vegas last year, is that they don't have enough practice to be able to compete with the rest of the teams already struggling with a roster. Now it's just going to get compounded and way worse. So I don't know. They have to do something, but I don't see them being able to turn this around with this move.
Yeah,
I mean, it can't be worse than it was.
Damn rough.
That can't be worse than it was.
They've won like what, 2 maps or something?
True.
They literally can't be worse than they are.
This
like,
roster,
it's just not possible.
If you consider, because there was the other fun stat that came out, that Vegas haven't won a match in a full year now. But if you look at the full year, the last time Vegas won, it was with the old roster, wasn't it? So this current iteration hasn't won. This current iteration of the Odyssey players literally has not won.
And how many games did they win? How many games did they lose before they won a game? Can you, like, how bad does it get?
Holy shit! You just keep scrolling.
It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming.
Oh, that was when they beat New York. Okay, how many games did they lose before that as well? Because like, if they didn't have that one-off against, that's August. That's August 2021.
Yes,
bro.
Yes. Like this roster, you don't like this roster and this team have been so bad that there is there's nowhere to go but up. There literally isn't anywhere to go but up. Like legitimately, there's nothing that could be done to make this roster worse. Like they just can't. It can't. Like it's within reason, right? Like technically, they could make it worse if they literally just like, okay, we're putting 5 bronze players out there or something, right? But like with it, but like obviously they're gonna at least attempt to assemble a roster.
Team
so
Plat Chat thoughts. Team Plat Chat.
There's nothing they could do to make the roster.
Could they retain? Should they just drop everybody from this roster, or should they retain like 1 or 2 players?
I still think there's hope for their backline, personally.
I do as well.
I still think there's hope for their backline.
I do as well. I actually like the backline and Dove. I think they're okay, but I think at some point you need to just rip the band-aid off and stop. Because I think it's hard to really gauge if a player is the problem when it's just such a big pile of doo-doo, right? Like it's so hard
because who else would they get though? But right, like who else they get?
I don't know. Who's signing up? We don't know who's signing up for these trials. Like maybe for all we know, there aren't that many better players signing up for these trials.
Magic Mate Ball.
Magic Mate Ball. I mean, you know, Pummy could get Pummy.
Yeah, like there are good North American contenders players that I think could fill this role better, but.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So, I mean, overall, it just needed to be done, though. Needed to be done.
It did. Right, let's move on to Midseason Madness, the actual tournament itself. This was sick. I fucking enjoyed this tournament, and one of the reasons was because there wasn't many teams. I know that's like a hot fucking take to some people.
Wait, you like this lack of teams?
Honestly, listen to me. Let me justify myself. Let me justify myself.
He's cooking.
The reason why I enjoyed it for the amount of teams that we had was because every game felt close to a certain degree, but comparatively to the regular season game, that we've had recently would have been 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, Vegas and Eternal, like kind of like fucking around and doing shit. You know what I mean? Like this felt like, maybe that's also casting bias too, but this felt like some of the sickest Overwatch that we've had. Like the games we fucking casted, Scott. Holy shit, dude! I didn't feel like we've casted any good games this season apart from those ones in the fucking tournament.
Because we keep casting Vegas.
Like, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it is crazy to me, man. It is fucking crazy. I get to this tournament, I look at the schedule, I'm like, okay, kind of wicked. And then we actually see the teams that make it through the bracket. We're like, okay, we're casting fucking Houston, Atlanta. And like, oh my God. And then I'm like, wow, this is what casting feels like. Holy shit. This feels good. And like that, maybe a little bit of personal bias there, but like, at the end of the day, having less teams isn't always a good thing. And I wish there were more, but like it did aid for some amazing fucking Overwatch.
Jack,
like straight up.
Can I give you a hypothesis?
Oh, apart from the dog shit APAC team. Sorry, Abel, go ahead.
Okay, we'll get to that. So you you better watch your mouth a little bit. But do you really think the tournament wouldn't have been better if, let's say, we added 2 more teams from 6 teams to 8 teams? The 2 more teams would have been Glads and either Fuel or Dreamers.
Yes.
Oh, what?
So
Charge?
I guess Charge lost to Dreamers.
No,
Charge lost it.
So
Charge.
Yes, I do think if we had more teams, it would have been better because the tournament. There are other gripes I've had with it. I'm literally just specifically talking about match quality because the amount of days that were played for like one of 2 tournaments we're having this year was just not good, and like it felt very empty. And I talked to Scott about this before we went live, or like the days leading up to it. I'm like, man, we're only casting like 2 games this tournament. Like, and in fact, everybody is casting 2 games, apart from Mitch and Matt, but like, everybody's casting 2 games. I'm like, man, this feels kind of like empty in a way because we're there on one of the days. It's like, yo, Pog, but then it's like, oh, we're done. And so like that felt pretty bad. But the match quality, like I said, was very good.
I was done so soon. I'm like there for day 1 and then I'm gone.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how everyone felt. Like, fuck it. What was the game that Jen and Harry cast? They casted
Wasn't it
the
a 3-0?
Boston
Mayhem
game
game.
where they decided to just not show up, and then like they casted one game, and that game was so bad, and I really felt bad for them because like obviously this is our perspective of like this is our job, we want to be good at it, but like we had so many casters, and there just weren't that many matches. It was only 3 days, and like there needs to be more than 6 teams. Like it just, well, obviously I don't want to get bogged down in the format too much, but there needs to be at least 8 to make it feel meaningful when you're only going to have 2 major tournaments in a year. Like we don't need to get too caught on it, but like I think we can all agree to that. There weren't enough matches to make it feel special, even though the matches were great, like Jack said. And that's what happens when loser chooses match. And all the team, we don't have like bottom end teams facing top end teams. Like
Exactly.
So summary, Jaws L. Yep, I knew it.
yeah, Jaws L plus ratio.
Yeah, I mean, look, the match quality was sick. Need more fucking teams so we can cast more and have more fucking hype games. Like, yeah. It sucks, but hey, what are you gonna do about it? We'll talk about we'll ignore the format for now. Obviously, we kind of talked to it to death in a previous fucking episode, so let's just go on to the actual like teams. Let's talk about Atlanta first, beating Houston twice. And to be fair, Scott, our game that we casted, the 3-2, that was way closer than the finals. Dear God. Like, it actually felt like Atlanta downloaded the hell out of Houston going into the finals. So, whatever you think about Atlanta's run through the bracket.
I mean, the team is the best team in the world. I mean, everyone kind of knew that going in. I should hope everyone kind of knew that going in because it was pretty clear that they were the team to beat. Like they even showed up on the BP made a tweet that they put on broadcast. JFK would have lived.
Oh
they had
my God, I saw that.
JFK would have lived if they had the Geo Fielder backline. They put that on Overwatch League. They put that shit on the Overwatch broadcast. Yeah. So
That's I'm gonna
funny.
like that tweet. I'm not gonna retweet that or anything because it's kind
that
of
one
on
was
the
on
edge.
Overwatch
But I'm
League
like,
broadcast. It was
how
on the
did that make
broadcast.
onto broadcast, bro?
So it was.
Like,
there it is.
look at that. Look at that, bro.
There it is. Oh no. I mean, and the reality is like that backline is like 100% in this meta right now, and like in a meta where you're playing like a Lucio or a Brigida, right? Like it is the best backline in the world. You know, it is simply the Houston backline's really good, like really, really good. But I think the Chio Fielder backline is just like, it's just fucking incredible. Like there was a tough race between backlines this year, and it's clear that this one is still like, this one is just head and shoulders above the rest right now. Additionally, like the team is overall like we were all down. I think all of us were pretty skeptical about Donghak come into the season.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't think he played the better main tank in the finals, but I do think he's been playing a really good main tank still, and he's exceeded expectations. Like, and that's what they needed for Rain, because everything about Rain is like, this is a championship roster as long as Donghak performs, you know? And he has. He's been performing. He's been doing his job, you know? And then personally, they gave Fielder like, I think match MVP after like oh my fucking God, it was like a 40-minute post game.
Yeah,
like
that was
it was
way too
it was
long,
the
yeah.
spectacle for the fans in the venue though, which by the way, the venue actually started filling up after the early days. Like, you know, I'm glad that we finally got some events again in APAC at least, because like people don't realize like how much larger Overwatch is in Asia than it is in like North America. And it is like, it's been a shame that we haven't been able to deliver more events to the region that really is kind of the lifeblood of a lot of our players and like the cradle of a lot of like the early stories of the scene. So like I'm very happy that they could do that too.
It's definitely on that point, Connor, because I saw like, oh my God, it's the classic like, yo, this game sucks and shit like that. But it was at 10 a.m. Korea time on a fucking Friday and a Thursday. Like, that of course not, and it's like 40 minutes away from Seoul, and I don't want to like just keep planning excuses, but fuck me, like, God, the comments I saw on that shit were just like mind-bogglingly dumb.
No,
And,
really,
Yeah,
like,
but the point,
I know.
But the point being is that more so they gave Fielder player of the match for this match, the Grand Finals MVP. Yeah. I think it should have been Stalker personally.
No,
Yeah,
I think
Stalker.
I do.
No, I think
But
Fielder should have won that.
But I'm not opposed to Fielder. Fielder still played an incredible game. Like he had an incredibly high impact match. Like I just think Stalker literally hit every pulse. I don't think I saw Stalker. Like Stalker just hit every fucking pulse. Like fucking insane.
I looked at stats at the end of the finals. First of all, he deadlifted the final map, and that no one talked about that. Okay, maybe it's a real hidden stat. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't
Hidden
apparent.
stat.
But he had something like 55 to 10. I have to look back at the numbers and do a recount, but it's within that range. He had like basically a 5-to-1 KD ratio for final blows to death. So not elims, final blows. And he held a 50% pulse bomb stick rate over the 5 maps in the finals. That stat I know 100%. I can even see it in front of me right now. 50% pulse stick for all 5 maps average. That's how nuts it was. So, dude, I began to... I mean, I think we already knew Stalker was insane. But, man, he leveled the fuck up this year. After, you know, riding the bench on Seoul, we kind of got the feeling he was really good. Coming into Atlanta, being unleashed around an insane team just surrounding him. The dude is, like, at the top of his game currently. I think by far the best Tracer that we've seen. And he created such an immense gap. I think a lot of players created some gaps. We saw Fielder gap Shu here, which is really insane because I still consider Shu to be such a top player. But every single dive, Stalker was all over the show. He had so many kills. He was a part of every single kill. His kill participation was insanely high, and he just created such a damage DPS kill gap that no team can really overcome that. That's why I think, personally, for me, Stalker player of the match. And backed on stats, it's like you just seeing what he can do. It's wild.
For me, like, I agree. Like, Stalker is incredible. I just think if you're not going to give Fielder player the match here after a performance like that, then when are you ever going to give it to support? If a team's winning, the Tracer's always going to farm. The Tracer's always going to feast. That doesn't discredit Stalker's performance, but I think Fielder, like, one of the reasons that I think Donghack, Stalker, and Lip feast so heavily is that Fielder and Chio just don't die, and they put out so much work, like all of Fielder's biotic grenades, the value that it leads to, and all that kind of stuff. Like, it really does start from the backline. And I think Fielder and Chio deserve, like, 100%. These guys are just fucking unkillable, and they're going up against some world class. Like, Fearless had a bad day, and that's hard to do against the best Winston in the world, to make the best Winston in the world have a bad day. And even then, it was just because of the pressure that was coming out and how it was just impossible to isolate them.
And I also don't even, I don't even blame Fearless that much on a lot of this, because I felt like their dives in general were just not very good, partially because of the fact that, like you said, like, they just got so entirely mitigated early by Fielder and Chio. Fielder and Chio just, like, kept just made sure that and also they were just, like, right here, even, I guess it wasn't that moment. There was one moment where they EMP'd and Chio's, like, right there, and he just, like, tanks all the damage here, but I guess that was not it. They're going to lose this fight, but I can't remember which moment it was, but it was on this map, but it was still fucking crazy how survivable their backline is.
I was just going to say, like, it says a lot when you could even have a genuine debate about who should get player of the match, because that many players played well. You could say Chio could have gotten it. You know, maybe one of the, possibly a tank or Lip, but really the backline plus Stalker, that was the highlight. So many good players on this team. Everyone dominated. A lot of different players could have gotten it. It just says everything about the team that you need to know.
Yeah, I think they're in the running for the best team in the world. That's ever been.
They are.
Potentially
Not even in the running. I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right now in this meta, like, they're unbeatable.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean ever, right?
Comparatively, yeah. I think
if they win in another meta as convincingly as they did in this one, I think you could definitely make that argument.
We'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about second place then. Outlaws falling short of second place. Like I said before, I think the me and Scott's game, the 5 mapper, the 3-2 that went to Atlanta Reign, that was way closer than this finals was. And Outlaws, I think Fearless was not having a bad game at all. I think, again, it did come down to, like, the backline being unkillable for the Atlanta Reign, but the Houston Outlaws, they look so sick in that series. Like, so good. They just look like a little bit defeated, I guess, in the finals in comparison.
I think the big difference between those two games was, I think Happy had an incredible Tracer game in that match. He was sticking supports over and over again. And that's, you know, if you're sticking supports, that's something that's very hard to play against. You know, Chio Fielder, like, they can deflect dives, but if the Tracer's just hitting pulse bombs, it's hard to come back from that. And I think Happy impressed me a lot. I was very surprised to see Pelican playing the Sombra going into these playoffs. Like, they'd been doing it bits and pieces, but Happy was playing a lot of Tracer, and it was really good. Like, I would say almost equivalent, if not on that one game we watched, better than Pelican's Tracer, which is saying a lot because I've been impressed with Pelican's Tracer. So I think Houston just played better in that upper bracket match. It felt like they had more confidence, their dives were being more effective, and they were executing at a higher level. The backline as well for Houston Outlaws was very, very good. The only time it really looked like it had weaknesses was against Atlanta Reign. So Houston is also going to be the team I expect to compete with Atlanta for the playoffs as well. Like, these two teams are head and shoulders above everyone else right now.
looking McNasty with it. I mean, it's also just, I think the backline is definitely one of the key moments we've harped on a lot, but like I personally I don't know. Happy Pelican, great duo, really, really good. I didn't feel like at times I feel like they were just a bit less coordinated on the dive a lot. Like, which is really what it comes down to when these dive metas a lot. It's that split second, like, can you evaporate someone really, really fast? Because if you don't do it against the top supports, they will get peeled, you know? They will immediately get peeled. You'll have to, like, hope that you're gonna have every shot, use every resource, because if you don't just immediately collapse on them, they will continue to they will punish you, and you won't be able to clean them up easily. And I think that to me was a pretty big difference maker here, was the fact that like I wasn't having Pelican are great. They had a great performance leading up to this. I just didn't feel quite the same level of oomph, especially on their coordination with the dives that I did comparatively to Atlanta. So it's something, and this might just be the particular meta for them, because I think there could be metas where the Houston Outlaws like DPS line is going to be a lot better, right? Like Atlanta kind of got supercharged by a Sombra Tracer meta a bit. Like this is like an amazing meta for them. So the fact that they still put up such a good performance is good news for Outlaws fans. It's still something that they should be pretty happy with, and like I would not write them out of contention here for the rest of the year by any means.
Can I expand on the DPS thing here as well? The problem is, like Houston overall, it's clear why they're better than everyone else. Like if you stacked up all 19 teams, it's very clear why Houston is better than, you know, everybody except for Atlanta. But when you compare them to Atlanta, you can say, okay, they have a better tank in Fearless. The supports could be comparable, but as we've seen now, Chio and Fielder do clear a little bit. But then you look at the Happy Pelican, and they're better than the rest of the competition, at least, you know, that we've seen. But you start comparing them, especially in this meta, to the Lip Stalker, no one's going to challenge Lip on the Sombra. That's number one. Number two, currently, I don't think anyone also challenges Stalker on the Tracer. And because we're playing Sombra Tracer basically everywhere, and you're going to try and mirror them, that is going to create issues for Houston where they're not going to be able to close that gap. So you could even see it stat-wise, like just Stalker finished the finals with 11.88 final blows average per 10, Happy on 7.02. So that's like nearly 5 extra final blows that Stalker is getting per 10. It's really nuts, like the level of output difference from Stalker and Happy. And we can definitely say there's other factors in there, like yes, maybe Fielder's landing more nades, maybe Donghack's getting better dives, there's going to be other factors in there. But definitely on the DPS side, you can see that Lip was going to outperform either of the two players on Sombra, and Stalker was going to outperform either of the two players on Tracer.
What's nuts actually in the background for audio listeners? It's just the Blizzard World map from the winners finals between
that Stalker Bowl still is fucking crazy to me every time, but it's
this even just the last 5 minutes has just been absolutely dumb stupid. Like the sleeps that Fielder is hit. I mean that is stupid as hell. Like,
he was hoping he was gonna get him.
I mean it was ridiculous. But like the sleeps Fielder's hitting, Chio keeping him alive, but then also the double pulse bomb from Happy as Chio bash a rare Chio bash into Fielder to net Happy a double kill on the Tracer with pulse. Like this 5 minutes of gameplay is just unbelievable Overwatch from like everybody. It's one of the best series I think we've had in a long fucking time. And yeah, Outlaws obviously falling short, but like Connor said, there's hope, and Outlaws a fucking sick team still. Another sick team that a lot of people kind of placed, I think as we did power rankings, people kind of placed Mayhem at third, but they did end up coming third. Who's really surprised at this point? I think Mayhem are definitely solidly the third best team in the league currently. But do you guys think they leveled up on land? Like, how do you think they performed in comparison to what we had expectation-wise?
For me, I feel like they did exactly what I expected them to do. Like, I think they came in with like a lot of drive. They have the skill and the coordination to be a really strong team. They could have gone either way with Boston, but they ended up like clearing Boston pretty hard in that match. But that was a weird match all round, at least from Boston. But Florida just they live up to their potential, and I think that potential falls short of Atlanta and Houston. I feel like when they start getting diffed on those individual roles, they start to struggle a lot. So I was happy to see Florida do well on land, and I think they would be happy with their results as well. So I don't know. I feel like I didn't see anything underperform or overperform in my eyes.
But they definitely leveled up over the course of the tournament because they started out, they lost their first match. They had a lot to come back on, and it wasn't clear that they were going to beat Boston either. But managing to do that was really good. This is an insane performance for Mayhem. I can't remember if we were unanimous on where Mayhem was going to end because it was looking a little shaky coming into this tournament, given that they had lost to Glads as well, and there's some questions being asked. We probably felt like Florida had the capability to be third, but it was just shaky because of the knockout results, right? The qualifier results.
We believed that they were going to win their first match and then end up having to play Outlaw.
Boston would beat Houston in the first fucking round.
No, I didn't. I got overruled, Scott. I fought the fight. I fought against that. They all voted against me and said Boston would win. Okay, Scott? I did not believe in it. I said
a win
no.
for the free thinkers.
They overruled me. Okay? They overruled me. Trust me, if you had been here, we could have stopped this. But you're too busy getting married and going on and getting a honeymoon and shit like that. Really unimportant shit. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen is that they're going to overrule. You left it in charge with Johnny and them, and they're going to do that. Okay? So now look where we're at. This is your fault.
The free thinkers didn't win.
Can you hear me?
I will be right.
I hit my desk. And,
you
can now. Okay, I hit my desk and my Go XLR got mad. So there goes to show my rage. But I'm glad someone was putting up the good fight. Jack just yelling free thinking as if he's American. Yeah.
It was
just saying dumb shit.
It was just the IQ pyramid of like PhD, like masters, bachelors, and then at the top podcaster. Listen to the podcast, like right there, like. I mean, I just like this. I agree. This was madness, but based off the bracket we made, we did have Mayhem winning the first match and then having to play Houston the lower, so immediately getting knocked out. It ended up working out where they, a little bit differently than that. Which personally, I also think in that match, Boston they struggled a lot versus Spark, and they clearly fixed those problems in the next go around. They fixed, or not the next go around, but rather they fixed those problems going into Infernal. I also think like that Infernal match they played in the lower bracket. Infernal, I thought, was the only team that really like came up, that really showed up to play. But realistically, honestly, in my opinion, I don't know. I kind of look at this and I'm like, I think Spark had the far better tournament than Infernal here, which is to be expected.
Spark won, so I mean,
yeah. Well, also not just that, but I think their individual form was just way better. I was not impressed with the Infernal. Like in the Mayhem match, like they looked a lot better, but in the Houston match, they looked extremely flaccid. Like they looked terrible comparatively. Like granted, they were just wholly outclassed, right? Like, and to me, that it is time to start talking about APAC as a fraud region. It is time to start talking about it. Unfortunately, Houston, the top of NA is just so far above the top of APAC currently that it's like not.
Define top of NA because I define it as Houston and Atlanta.
Houston, Atlanta. Yeah. I mean, if your top two teams are just infinitely better.
Because you can't really include Mayhem into that conversation when Infernal took them to 5 and Hangzhou beat them, right? You have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, but if your top two teams are so far above them that there's like, there wasn't even a hope.
The thing is, they're also so far above every other team, NA or APAC, of just everybody. Correct?
Yeah, but they're part of our region, so we could claim them.
So is fucking Vegas and Valiant. Are you going to talk about that team?
But the thing is that but I mean, so was Dragons. Dragons part of APAC too, and I feel like that since there's less teams,
and Dragons would fucking clear Vegas. I'll put a stack online right now.
Nah, not with the New Vegas. New Vegas will be different. New Vegas will be different. Okay, it's not only will be the best Obsidian game for Fallout, but it will also be a New Vegas.
That's some coin because Hangzhou Spark lost to Florida, and the Soul Infernal lost to Boston. So it's like Boston and Florida are better than the top two of APAC right now. Like in this meta, you can't say that. Like I agree. If you take
competitive, you can't.
It's competitive. I'll give you that.
We have to have a nuanced conversation about like what is competitive and what isn't, because otherwise, like what I'm here we go. Where are the goalposts? We have to understand and define what the goalposts are.
I'll be moving. I'm going to move them all the time.
I don't think me, myself included, no one was going to say that either Hangzhou or Infernal were going to come anywhere close to Atlanta, Houston. I freely, openly admitted that they weren't going to touch them, and they were clearly not. I said the rest of the teams could have been fair play, and I think the teams lived up to that because both Infernal and Hangzhou played Mayhem really close. Hangzhou even beat Mayhem. Mayhem ended up being third. Yeah, Boston 3-1 Hangzhou. Still a back and forth enough game. I mean, this is a situation where I think at least when you look at the rest of the teams beyond Houston and Atlanta, there's enough competition there that. Am I disappointed they went out last? Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, competitive. I'll give them that.
You deflated all the fun. I just want to make. I was having fun here, and you've gone too reasonable. You've gone a little too reasonable.
Both APAC teams went out first. Fraud region. Region sucks, baby. They fucking suck. Get the fuck out of my NA tournaments.
But thank you, APAC, because really the majority of the players come from that region, and we're
Yeah.
just kind
Hey,
But,
just
you
real
know,
quick,
it's
yeah,
like-
yeah, real quick. Where did Lip and Stalker play last season? Where were they again? Yeah, just checking.
Yeah. Better region.
Not
yeah.
important. Not
year.
important.
Didn't
Not
ask, didn't
important.
ask.
Yeah, doesn't matter. So, but what do we got to talk about next?
Yeah, it doesn't
I-
even matter.
I-
Like,
Yeah, no. I mean, we could talk about Infernal. We can talk about Infernal first. Yeah, sure. Why not? How do you think they did?
They get choked.
are the most serial chokers I've ever fucking seen.
The spirit of fusion is in them. It is. They need some sort of banishment. They need a what the hell is it? It's like an exorcism.
Solomon, I'm gonna send you a fucking tweet. You need to bring this shit up.
An
Jamie,
exorcism.
pull it up. Here we go. This is a fucking tweet that
Like this shit. Like it is because that was legitimately. I thought they would be a lot better this tournament.
Bro.
To be fair.
Yeah.
We
I
don't-
didn't think they were gonna be a lot better.
hold me the fuck back from molding at this. Bring this shit up.
This clip.
this-
Oh,
So-
oh my
Oh.
god, it was bad.
Oh, this pissed me off. Who wins? Our trivia. Which team wins this fight? Which team wins this fight? Our
The enemy
trivia.
backline is dead. We have 5 people. Time to in.
Five
Is this
versus
where
three,
is this where
and the
Merritt drops
supports are dead.
the death blossom and he just like kills 3 or whatever?
no.
He kills
this
like
that
1 or
clip?
2. I don't know.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Even then, that's 3v3. Like, come on,
Well, this isn't a clip.
dude.
This is a still. He didn't even post a clip.
Okay.
This is just a still image. Like,
Dude, if you posted the clip, I'm out. Like, I'd be.
Yeah.
He's
I'd be
going
out.
to orbit.
I
I
mean,
can only,
but
I can
I
only
also
take the
think-
still. I can't take more than 1 frame of the shit. I'm gonna be.
I personally think what really the thing that killed Infernal this tournament, more so than anything else, more so than the coordination stuff, I think Inven3 and Zest were flat. They were really, really flat this tournament. But I don't know if maybe it's because of the fact that like the backlines they typically play against, and the tanks and such, they can punish a lot more. So they're getting a lot more like they just typically look better because against any like pretty much they have more opportunities to like pop. While like versus top teams in an A, like they're just strictly just more coordinated. But like, wait, is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
3
Oh.
Jamie gets 1.
5.
Okay, they get no one with the Death Blossom actually, but then they split them and they had already killed 1, and then Skewed gets isolated. Yeah, Checkmate just farms them here with like they gets 2 individual kills, I think, off of like hacks, and they controlled the pack the whole time too. So there's no pack
They
heals.
won with a hacked health pack and
Yeah.
the Reaper getting life steal, bro. Like
Dude,
that
I
is
mean,
just sad.
The focus fire is abysmal. Like there was no peel from Soul. Like they were playing like Moira Lucio, so they shouldn't even be able to like go down that easily. You know, when there's no like I don't know. It's just that was
Go
just,
to the control map. I'm pretty sure they started was it like 99-0-1 and then 90-35 on the second round or something like that. This team just can't close leads, man. They start super strong on certain maps and just fumble. Oh, dude, it's painful, man.
I
You
wanna,
you can tell there's potential there, but they're just career fumblers.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that's the fusion curse somehow still living on. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. I mean, one team that will win the Overwatch League, let's talk about the Boston Uprising. We had, yeah, they can win. They can. I believe. I'm the biggest Boston simp here.
Yeah, we
and
saw
I
that
did
bracket, don't
convince
worry about it.
everybody. Yep,
I did not believe. I
Yep,
did
you did
not.
not believe.
How do you
I
guys-
didn't see that episode of us. I hope
Don't
that you
watch
were
it.
fighting the good fight for me because the
I
fact
did
that
not watch
shit
that episode.
I
cleared,
got
I don't know.
overruled. I got
Dude, how do you
overruled
guys
on that.
how do you guys navigate the cognitive dissonance in your casting duo where one player loves like one of you guys loves Boston, the other one just hates Boston?
That's the fun part about it. That's what makes it so fun. And then Scott gets hate for hating Boston,
Yeah,
but then
people
people
love
hate
it. People
Boston
love to get upset at me
when
for hating
Scott
Boston.
shits on him, and then people love me sometimes because I love Boston, and then hate me because I love Boston. That team's gonna fail. So you know, it's a really weird dynamic. We capture all the different audiences, honestly.
Yeah. You just gotta believe. But honestly, like this team, they play pretty well. Like other than if you take out the last match that they played pretty well. Like they were a pretty good team. I think that they're like playing up to their strengths. You know, I'm still not in love with the Twilight Izayaki Ana substitutions going back and forth. But otherwise, like, I don't know. I feel like they performed pretty much to where I expected them to go. Like, same thing with Florida. Like, I was expecting them to get over APAC. Like, it was going to be close matches, and they were. But eventually, like, Boston, they're relying on individual brilliance, like, a lot of the time. Like, their coordination isn't as clean cut as Florida's, but I think they have better individual players.
So
and
they're
then,
NA Hangzhou Spark.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, like literally we actually talked about that when we watched, we casted Boston versus Spark, and we said, like, it's literally whichever team individually pops off in this match. And it ended up being the Boston Uprising. Like, they just had better performances. So, you know, I think Boston, they've exceeded my expectations from this year. I was very down on Boston coming in, but I actually think they've strung it together, and I'm impressed.
Can you imagine, like, other teams like Toronto blew up internally way before Boston? Bro, Striker even showed up on stage. He looked happy. He didn't smile. He was chilling, dude.
He's just happy to get a free trip to Korea. That's why.
I think that was what was most fun about that series, the Spark versus Boston one, was the fact that anybody can pop off at any one moment.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how both those teams end up doing in a different meta that is a lot less like dive centric and like playing together. Like I want to see a meta where it's just like much more solo play, because both those teams probably do exceptionally well just at the caliber of players. It feels like if they, you know, is a dream world that you'd live in, but if they had the same kind of coordination and just on the same page shit as like Outlaws or even Atlanta Reign, those two teams would be a lot better than they currently are. But it's just every player is pretty sick, but it just comes down to like getting on the same page and working together as a team. It's just not quite there, but it was a fun series. I think Boston did as well as I think a lot of people expected them to do, regardless of our bracket, which was very fun to make and very fun to argue with Connor about. It was funny. Which reminds me, actually, could we bring up the bracket real quick? And then we can jump into the power rankings as well after the tournament. Although it should be.
Wait, we didn't talk about
simple.
Spark.
Oh, we talked about Spark. Oh, Infernal. Did we talk about Spark?
We talked about Infernal. We didn't talk about Spark.
Oh,
really
let's talk about Spark then. Leave this on the screen. We'll talk about Spark too then.
They were right.
Yeah, all
They
right.
were, okay, they were good. Okay, they were the best performing APAC team in this tournament, in my opinion. Even though Infernal had a close match versus Mayhem, I personally was more impressed with Spark's overall performance. Now, granted, Spark, you know, Infernal had to play Houston in like the first, I guess, like as their first like round that we got introduced to them, right? So like their first match we saw them on LAN was just them getting giga pounded, while like Spark won a match and then got to go play versus Atlanta. But realistically, like it was overall, I was more impressed with Spark's performance. I think they had like more of the magic of that team. Like they had really great frag moments. Like I think the Shy Sombra, like they definitely, and it happened throughout the season, right, on APAC, where they started off not really able to play Sombra. And I think Shy Sombra was still pretty decent here. I think they probably could have done some of the better Sombra teams. I think they might have just been better, just potentially trying to force the Hanzo even just to see, like, hopefully, because Shy maybe could have like gotten more done with it realistically, like because they just didn't have the same ability on that Sombra composition. I think Gushue still shows that he's like still got it on the Winston.
Oh yeah.
Like overall, like I was pretty impressed with like Spark's individual skill still, but it's clear that like they just didn't have they didn't have the coordination levels for this meta. They didn't have the understanding of like their win conditions. They weren't fast enough. Like they simply oftentimes they simply weren't fast enough to take the fights. Like it feels like when you're watching Atlanta Houston, it's so fast. Like there is something happening all the time, and I didn't feel like a lot of times it felt fast enough for a lot of for those squads, and Spark included, at least not on the coordination level.
Yeah.
So I do think that Spark, in my opinion, was the best performing APAC team in the event.
I think they probably, depending on who you ask, they probably exceeded expectations, because I know a lot of people's expectation on the Spark was super low. They're like, yep, worst team here, 6th team for sure. But they ended up beating Mayhem, and they did something that Infernal unfortunately couldn't do. Both took them to 5. I think casting the Atlanta versus Spark series really opened up my eyes in terms of at least versus. Maybe it's just because they played the best team in the world, but it really opened up my eyes to like, man, how far behind, unfortunately, I have to say it, Linkser and Monk were. And okay, you're up against Field of Chio. They're going to gap anybody they get. They're going to be better than probably any other support duo in the league, Shoe Violet included. But most people probably said Linkser and Monk, the the downside of this team, maybe that's the one weak part of the team, and that really got exposed versus the Atlanta Reign in that series. I felt like that was definitely the biggest issue for the Spark, because even though Gushui is very good, leave and shy, they can compete. The backline differential, the backline not being anywhere near the same level as Fielder and Shield was a huge issue. They were never going to beat Atlanta. They probably weren't even going to take a map, but yeah, man, they just felt like they got exposed.
I think to give some, devil's advocate for Monk and Lynx, I think they played really well in the Florida Mayhem match, and that is actually one of the primary reasons that they ended up winning that match over the Florida Mayhem. They won over Florida Mayhem, right?
Yeah, they beat.
They won 3-2. Sorry, so map 5. Yeah, because Monk and Lynx are actually I was really impressed with those guys. I'm like, if those guys keep performing at this level, then they can go way further in this tournament than I was expecting. But then they went up against Atlanta and Boston, and they just got heavily exposed, as you said, Avril. So, there was some good signs, but definitely as they go higher and go up against better teams, they're going to struggle. I also think Shy Sombra really struggled against Atlanta and Boston. I think he understands what to do, but as soon as anyone disrupts that and they start playing the translocator battle, and maybe this is just lack of practice of playing in an NA, because NA teams are very good at this, of playing around translocators, understanding when you need to go back, where you need to put them, all that type of stuff. He just got caught out by both Birdering and Lip. They just played around him so well, and I think he wasn't able to play his game, and that's one of the reasons Spark, went down against both those teams pretty convincingly.
Hard hits game matter might favor them a ton, or at least Shy on anything else other than Sombra. I think they would have done a little bit better. It's just a team that requires so much meta dependency. I think it's just kind of awkward. I think, and going against Atlanta obviously not fun. At the end of the day, with them beating the Mayhem, I still think it's a good sign for the team going forward into APAC next split. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The dive was good, man. A lot of people were oh, this is a one-trick team, but they one-tricked against Florida, and it got them a win. It was good enough to get them a win.
They do need the right fucking heroes. That is for fucking sure. I think we're about done. Unless anybody else, any other comments?
I mean, we didn't spend a lot of time on Mayhem.
Total?
Realistically, we didn't really spend a lot of time on Mayhem, but this team, I think it's also time to start talking a bit. Is it time for OCE to finally get their props for the first time and be is Gumba Coach of the Year candidate? For Mayhem?
I mean, potentially.
I think that granted, now this is not nearly as plucky an underdog team as they were in the past. They have Chorong and Merit, and arguably at this point, let's be honest, you're kind of dumb if you don't consider someone in Checkmate also is pretty is very, and RuPaul pretty top tier players. Even at the end of last year, right? But I do think that Gumba has clearly this team has been pretty flexible. The pickups that Gumba is a big part of they put a lot of work into the scouting for this roster and building it. Gumba could be a pretty solid Coach of the Year candidate, honestly.
Yeah.
But I do think that the Mayhem squad is I think for them it's this is just a success of just showing that the key is you have 5 Koreans and 1 non-Korean and you can achieve victory. That's just Atlanta did it. Shock's done it. Mayhem's doing it. That's how you do it. You get five Koreans and 1 white boy or not white boy, and you go crazy. It goes crazy with the meta here.
When do you think they rank then? It seems like an easy 3rd place out of the.
I mean, I think the thing is though, it's really kind of an issue of how resilient they're going to be meta wise, but because they don't have double flex capability right now. Someone is flexible, but realistically, so far it's only been his Winston that's been by far his best pick. Yeah. Though his Ram was good. His Ram was good this tournament. But Winston's still been his best pick. And then they're covered for hard hit scan, and they're they have very good flex CPS. So it's kind of more so what are they gonna look like with a different paradigm essentially? What when they need double flex, or when they need a Rhine or something like that full time, what's their strengths gonna be looking like then? But overall I think they're gonna be pretty good results to the MMA. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what Sauna's Sauna seems like a good all around pickup, but I don't really know what where he's gonna slot in necessarily. It will just be, I guess, in a meta theoretically we don't ever want to hit scan maybe, but Merit's so good that they just sometimes force Merit to play the hit scan comp.
Isn't the idea that someone can he just flex to whatever hero he needs to, and then also you have Chorong who has some flex support heroes in his pool as well. So
I think that's
really
their plan,
need...
right? But we'll just have to see if that works, right? Like, so there is some question marks theoretically about like what they're gonna look at outside the meta. But like the team is really good. It's well constructed. Like the player, like they got some great nabs, and like it's clear that like they have the scouting here for Mayhem has paid off long term with the the sticking with checkmate and someone and keeping RuPaul on that roster.
I mean, I want to speak to like the roster building a little bit, because last year you're saying like maybe this year it's not as much of a Cinderella story. Last year when Christopher got his Coach of the Year for the sort of run that London had, I kind of felt like Gumba was cut from the same cloth in that kind of way, where Mayhem also overperformed expectations by quite a lot, but London overperformed even harder, which is why I think Christopher got the nod more. And this year is like a follow through, as you said, like it feels like a 2-year project almost. This is the continuation of where the roster formed last year, and now you're starting to see the fruits of that pay off more with a couple of new really good additions in Merit and Chorong, right? Now they've reached third, so a lot to be proud of there. Yeah, I think it's when you look at it as a 2-year project, it speaks volumes.
But that's it.
I think it depends what the meta is going to be as well next patch, because I don't know what patch number we're going to, but my thought is the current live patch would make sense.
Yeah, that's
with the Cass Mag change and the May change, plus all the JQ stuff that came through the previous patch to this one. So I don't know if it's going to be a JQ meta. JQ is very strong, and I think, but it might work against the Mayhem in that regard, because I'm not sure how someone is good on the JQ. Like, I don't think his JQ is as good as.
JQ got nerfed though. She got nerfed on the live patch.
She did get nerfed, and that does lead to me to think that we probably or might see the same kind of meta moving forward again.
I can give you some teasers, because this will be confirmed in the World Cup games that are coming up.
Sure.
But I'm fairly certain that the majority of the meta is Ramatra mirrors. You're going to have a lot of Lucio and Moira, some Lucio Bap, mostly just Ramatra versus Ramatra. I don't think much dive gets played anymore, mostly because Cast Grenade is just going to shut down dives.
Cast Grenade is insane.
Is it just
Everyone's going to be too scared.
Everyone's
going to be too scared to play dives versus Cast.
It
might
be
an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
I
the
wouldn't
Cast
be
Grenade is
surprised.
so fucking strong.
I really hope we don't go Ramatra Cast May everywhere. That's gonna really
literally going to be called
in the mirror. In the mirror,
Like,
you're not going to play
straight
cast, but you can swap the cast as soon as the other team wants to play dive, which
Yeah.
prevents dive from being played at all.
So what do you play if you don't play the cast?
You play May,
Sojin,
right?
Hanzo. Hanzo didn't get nerfed that much. I'm not gonna. I'll be
Okay,
real.
Yeah,
so
Hanzo
did-
really didn't get nerfed. So,
Reaper-
like,
Similar to what we saw in the midseason.
So yeah, you're gonna have
Okay.
May
I
plus
would say if
Reaper
you have a
or
lot of
Hanzo or
like
Sojin, something like
May
that.
and stuff, still like Reaper will still be pretty strong. But
Sure, definitely with Lucio Moria for sure. Reaper.
yeah.
Makes the most sense.
Love
We'll
Moira.
see. Yeah, I mean, maybe that work. Dude, I fucking hate that character. God damn it, dude. That character
Mayhem is one of the Lucio Moira abuser teams. Okay, you blame
Yeah,
him for that.
they're not just Lucio Moira. They throw fucking RuPaul on Moira.
Moira
when they're
Kiri
playing,
and
like,
shit like that.
Kiriko
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, it's
and
no
like, I mean,
shame.
it's effective, but I don't
Moira
love
abuses.
the comp. I really don't love that comp. I hate watching it. It's not even just because it's not even like a distaste of Moira. It's more so like the comp is just literally, okay, Kiriko is going to do everything. Moira's just kind of like a sit there and try not to die. And it's like, this is like not even like interesting. This is just like, you're just going Moira for the sake of being Moira instead of like any like particular plan necessarily. So like that comp, but they are Moira abusers for sure.
The thing that gets me about those heroes, and like this is more of a general game discussion, but like fuck me, there are just heroes in the game that just don't need to be in the top ends of competitive, because it just makes the game dull and like kind of boring to watch. And Moira is one of those heroes. That shit is boring.
The other one's Mercy.
Cole is wicked. Skin is
Got a good
cool.
skin, though.
However, not a fun hero to spectate. I will say it. It's no, it's garbage.
Yeah, look forward to that in the next meta.
We'll see. It might change, obviously, because World Cup is very different to Overwatch League, but we'll have to have a look. I think we're doing power rankings next. I had that on the docket, on the thing, on the thingamajig, or whatever you call this thing. So if we move into power rankings, I can't imagine this is going to be too complicated. I think we're probably going to be aligned in like where we want to put at least the top 3 teams. Of course, going down the run, it will be a little bit different because of Hungry Spark and Uprising and Inferno and whatnot. But I think rank 1 to 3 is pretty self-explanatory. Atlanta Rain, Outlaws, and Mayhem. I know. I think someone's just going to bring this up in a second. But
I think top 6 is pretty clear cut in my opinion. I don't know about you guys.
it's looking pretty like this might be one of the easiest power rankings we've ever had to do. I'm not gonna lie. I think this one after Midseason Madness, like this is gonna be. It's always been pretty easy towards the top end, but like even more so. Also, are we doing is this a like together power ranking or 2 region split?
I think it's together. I don't know.
Together?
It's not
Okay.
on the thing.
Oh, we can just
so.
full send together. Fuck it. It'll be funny.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think we just
Let's
put
let's put these APAC bozos down
Let's
the
combine.
list. Let's
do it
go.
combined. It's time to do it.
I want to see which one of you delusional motherfuckers puts Vegas above Shanghai. Let's see.
Oh yeah,
No,
no,
that's not
yeah.
gonna
Oh well,
happen.
Vegas clear those, you guys. It's fine.
Do we not have a combined one?
I guess it's
Solomon?
Guess
not
not. All right.
combined.
Guess
Oh no,
not.
there it is. It's
Yo,
combined now. They're there. Put them all at the bottom. Put them all at the bottom. All at the bottom. There we go, baby. There we go. Okay, so there's quickly run from the top to like top. We'll do top 7 to start off with. Once Solomon kind of just sorts.
Yeah, Chengdu.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
One
That's
last
really
ride
rough,
for the Chengdu
actually.
zone. One last ride.
Well, Chengdu, you can go there. But Atlanta Rain, Houston, and then Mayhem, top 3.
I think there
set
should
in
be
stone.
honestly a tier gap between Atlanta
And then a
everyone else.
tier break, right?
I think there should be a tier gap
Atlanta
between
tier break, then Houston tier break, in my opinion.
Oh my god, so I like it. I'm about it. I believe it.
I'm willing to take it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Why not?
I'm
2
sold.
tier breaks.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot, actually.
And then Florida,
Florida,
then
Boston,
yeah.
Boston.
Hangzhou, Infernal.
Yep. That's
Wait,
pretty
would
base.
Glads beat Hangzhou or Infernal?
Yes. Ha! Glad's beat Infernal. There's no way you can't tell me Glad's beat Infernal. There's no shot. I reckon they do.
I'm
The-
thinking.
Infernal who goes to 5 with Florida.
Yeah, but Glads usually beat Florida.
Pretty good. Glad's are pretty good. They
Glad's
only-
It's not,
usually beat
it's
Florida.
not a usual. It's like a trade-off. You know.
Well, no, it's like that. I think Glads have beaten them like
They've
2
won
times this
twice,
tour.
both
Yeah.
in like really close map
Okay.
fives.
You have to be very recency biased here because we're not just gonna look at games from week 2
Now
or
we
some
want to
shit.
use recency bias.
What?
Yeah,
It's a
that's
power
crazy.
ranking. What the fuck needs a power ranking? What do you mean?
Oh, he's molding. He's molding.
We
We
got
got
him,
him.
we got
We
him.
got him,
We've
guys.
got him right
week
where we
1
want.
ranking.
got
It's
him.
a
Solomon.
power ranking.
We've
We've
all
got it.
agreed. Glads
It's
at
so
5.
Jover.
Yeah.
I think the more reasonable for me is
Can we go? Okay, Seoul played pretty poorly at this tournament. Can we go Hangzhou, Gladiators, Seoul Infernal? Split the middle.
That's
Played
actually
poorly, but still still nearly reverse swept Mayhem. Like you guys are not giving them enough credit here.
I think honestly, I will say, but like technically, but Glad's I don't know. I mean, like
Glads 3-0'd Florida just
really split.
like 2 and a bit weeks ago. Like in this meta, like, yeah, obviously Florida won the important one.
Oh, he's doing it again. Whoa. There's the guts. You know what? It's funny. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
fine.
feel like
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this is
honestly,
all fucked.
I'm pretty split
This is
decision
all
on
kind of
this
fucked.
because it's really
it could
hard.
go either
Like,
way. Yeah.
Hangzhou and Seoul and
I'm
Infernal
cooking.
are like they've kind of thrown me through a loop a bit. They've thrown me a loop on like where I'm gonna place them, but I think I'm fine keeping this like that. I think because also I mean Glad's, who knows, like if Glad's had shown up, I feel like Glad's probably could have had a more competitive tournament than both of those APAC teams, honestly.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah,
event.
and that's it. Like, it's impossible to say because, like, Seoul Infernal didn't do very well at this tournament, but who's to say Gladiators would do any better, right?
I think
So-
I think it's good enough to split the difference for that there. Okay.
Yeah. If there were
Um,
8 teams, man. If there were only 8
Hang on,
teams.
Yeah.
you said you
God
like 6
damn.
teams.
Yeah, that's true. You did just say
I
that.
said, I caveated. I said, I like that when it was 6 teams, every single match was quality. I still would prefer more teams at the fucking tournament. Obviously. I said match quality good, but
Sure, buddy.
number of games kind of bad.
Sure, buddy.
You guys-
Well,
Whatever
I
you
mean,
say.
I think after that, then I'm kind of
The-
feeling like
I mean, the rest of the
know.
power rankings are probably going to be the same, right? I mean, Chengdu are definitely,
No,
Chengdu
not
definitely
Chengdu.
8.
Not Chengdu.
and
I
then
mean, maybe
what?
like if I mean maybe like
Titans, 8th.
Are we
yeah,
putting like
probably-
a Vancouver Guangzhou? Like, Guangzhou kind of meh in this meta.
But they were good for portions of the meta.
Yeah, they were
and
good
then
for
they
portions.
They kind of flopped.
They flopped
It's
at
got
the
to
mean,
be
end.
like-
Titans.
They flopped at the end.
I think I would take Titans 8th. I think I would take Titans 8th.
But then I'd want charge after
Yeah.
that.
No,
Also,
I
but
would
what
like to
about
see
like? But what
Charge
about
come in.
what about Justice?
Washington?
What about Justice?
Would you guys want to put Washington above Guangzhou? I missed their latest, like, I missed the last, like, 2 games of Washington, so I don't know how good they were playing. Because they weren't playing in the tournament, so I didn't catch up with them.
They were, like, pretty... I mean, especially with that hard tracer meta with LVE. It was good for them. And that was pretty good for them. I mean, like, they still struggled a bit with their, like... Because we're bringing... This is based off Justice with FD God, obviously, this power ranking right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, it has to be. I think I probably would go Justice, and then I'd put
Just off of Alpha Yi? Just off Alpha Yi?
I don't know. I mean, like,
they
they felt. They also like. I don't know. I think they normally what they played, like, I'm thinking about what they normally played. Besides that, it was normally.
Do you like mirror tank or do you like piggy tank?
That is the truth. I don't really. I mean, with the mirror tank, I think mirror tank, it gives them more options like Shambali and stuff like that for like the RAM and such. But so can Piggy, to be fair. Yeah, I guess I take Guangzhou. I'll take Guangzhou. Yeah, that's fair.
Guangzhou, then Washington in that case.
Yeah,
and then probably Shock.
Shock
or Dallas. Where did Dallas land in all this?
Yeah,
because like Dallas were playing better towards the end. They were.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, Solomon. I'm sorry for all this. It's this shit looking painful.
This
shit looking painful.
What's all that movement back there?
Yeah, honestly, you're doing a great job. Let's everyone in chat just appreciate what Solomon's doing right now. We're cutting this shit on the fly.
He's popping off.
I'm gonna go. I think I would personally put Shock. No, I should put Dallas. I'll put Dallas over Shock. I'm gonna do it. I'm making the call.
Let's give Dallas a bone. You know,
like
Shock finally have sucked for the first time in years, and I feel like they need to feel what it feels like to fall down the power rankings.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, they felt that last year in the finals versus Dallas already. But
yeah, well, I mean, but that wasn't like getting second place in the Overwatch League is not really like. That's not like a huge fall from grace.
Even in the who's bad power rankings, Dallas still clears Shock. That's crazy.
He's cooking.
He's cooking.
Wait.
Chef emoji.
Okay. We looking at this. Is Vancouver really 8th? Like, yeah, I know they had some good games, but like, I missed the last round. I missed the knockouts. Is Vancouver really 8th? I genuinely don't know.
Vancouver lost to Shock, by the way.
I personally felt because like when was the last time we saw them play? It was
in the knockouts. They lost to Shock.
Yeah, like, do they deserve? Like, I'm happy to put Vancouver above Shock, but they're very high. Like, they're at 8. Are we just believers?
They're 4 spots above Shock, despite losing to Shock.
I'm going to find their.
Yeah, it was a fluke, I think.
Yeah, just a fluke. Yeah, let's just run with that one.
Weird fluke.
What did they do? Yeah. Okay, their last 4 matches, they lost to Gladiators, lost to Houston, beat New York Excelsior 3-1, and then lost to the Shock in a map 5.
They look competitive versus the top teams, though.
They haven't beaten many great teams. Maybe we're overrating them. The only good team they've ever beaten is Boston.
Yeah, maybe we are overrating. Maybe it should go. Maybe it should go like Guangzhou, Washington, Dallas, Shock, Titans. That seems ridiculous, though, right?
No. I want to. I still think Vancouver's. I would still put Vancouver over Shock. I don't know. Maybe that's just sort of like.
So
you think even with Shock beating them?
I would put Vancouver in 10. I would move Guangzhou and Washington up and put Vancouver in 10.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
you don't think their loss versus the Shock penalizes them that much?
No, I think. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
From my recollection, those games were they play pretty well against
Vancouver
those top teams. Yeah.
I mean, but Shock also
the
had
bone. He's the bone giver today. You're the bone dispenser right here.
They did get rolled by Mayhem, though.
Maybe it's just because, like, I don't know, like, it just feels good to put Vancouver higher. I feel like they're going to appreciate it more, you know?
What?
I don't know,
I mean, because my gut, now that I'm more thinking about it, is I feel like I should probably have Shock above Vancouver, personally.
Yeah, like...
Oh, fuck it. Put him fucking... Fuck it, dude.
No, don't give it to him. Hold the line.
No, dude. No. I think Dallas...
Like, my gut reaction should be we just swap Shock and Vancouver, honestly.
Yeah. No, put Dallas Field above Shock.
Oh, how did they go from 8th to 12th? What happened?
They lost to Shock.
You brought up a good point. You brought up a good point, honestly. I need my memory jogged.
But
honestly, I'm willing to go.
I like looking at Vancouver.
Dallas goes to 10th, and then it goes like you can move Dallas up and then bring Vancouver down.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's fair because Dallas didn't really like. I mean, Dallas's end of APAC performance was pretty decent though, right? Like they played pretty decently at the end of APAC, like in the brackets. Like, I mean, like I was more impressed, but like also at the same time it was APAC, so I'm like, I don't know. Like
I don't know. I'm just impressed with Vancouver on a
Did
weekly
they beat
basis.
O2? Hang on, I have to double check that stat. They did, didn't they?
My gut reaction is Shock should be over Vancouver.
They did. They beat O2, which is
I
pretty impressive.
actually, looking at the record, okay, here. Shock actually, they haven't, every game that they lost was like to a good team in this stage. So we might be overvaluing how bad Shock are because they lost to Florida, Boston, Florida, Houston, Washington, Atlanta, like in this tournament. And they only beat Vancouver, Valiant, New York Excelsior, and Toronto Defiant. So like they've lost the good teams and beaten the teams that they're supposed to be. So it's kind of like they haven't played any middle of the pack teams.
I think they should be. I personally feel like they might go over Vancouver.
I agree. The only time they played a middle of the pack team was when they played Vancouver and they beat Vancouver. All right, I've convinced myself.
So 11th, I've convinced myself.
11th for Shock.
11th
for Shock.
For Shock, and then 12th for Vancouver.
Yeah, there we go. And then I'm happy with that. That's good. That's the end of that debate.
The bone
Now
dealer
we can
has
move
dealt
forward.
the
Now we
bone.
can move
Oh
forward.
god, we should just move on. Honestly, we should just talk about.
I think I don't know who the fuck. I think I'd go New York.
This segment
I think it's
is,
New York, right? Like New
yeah.
York played well at the back end, right? Like
I think I would go. I think I would go
like
like New York, and then maybe like either gonna be Dynasty or
Dynasty?
Defiant, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, would Dynasty beat Defiant? This is the question you have to
Do
ask.
I think Avril, you're muted. Can't hear what you're saying.
I'm not muted. What? Am I muted?
He's not.
Can't hear
He's
you,
not
can't hear
muted, bro. He's not muted, bro. It's just.
I can't hear him.
It's just you, bro.
What?
Everyone else
Okay,
can
Wait,
hear me.
actually,
guess I'll
I
be-
thought you were fucking with him. No, yeah,
No,
I
I
definitely
can't
still
hear
hear
his
him.
ass.
I hear him. Yeah, I hear him.
Okay,
I
well,
hear
I'm gonna be
Avril as well,
rejoining
yeah.
the call then. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
See you later.
I thought you were just messing with him. Okay, so
Yes,
I didn't-
Dynasty beats Toronto. I think.
I don't know if I agree with that. Are we saying with profit,
Yeah.
Big P, or are we saying because he didn't play the back
He
end
did.
of the
Yes,
season?
he did. He came back and played.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay, sorry,
Yes, he
I
did.
must have
He
missed
did.
that. I didn't realize he came back.
Yeah,
at the very
Big P
end.
did
Okay.
come back. Yeah.
Oh,
he came
okay,
back.
sorry, that's my fault.
So yeah, with Big P, I think Dynasty win that.
But yeah,
Something.
I mean, sure, I'll give it a Dynasty. Yeah,
Dynasty
why not?
Toronto.
I mean,
yeah.
Defiant was just so deflated that I'm like, I think that's fine.
Do you guys want to put
After
Valiant
that-
next?
I mean, here's the thing: has
Where
Valiant
does
won-
London come
Valiant-
in? Where does London
Valiant
come
where's
in?
hasn't
the
won a game
London-
though, right? It probably has
Put
to be
Vegas
London.
at 19.
No, you can't. Okay, you can't put London.
Sure. Yeah.
What's London's current?
Yeah,
Like-
London won a match, right?
Like London have won
Against
games.
who?
London beat Toronto and they beat Vegas.
Yeah.
So the question that we have is, are London better than the LA Valiant? I would say yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they're above it, but I would put Shanghai above London, of all things, funnily enough.
Yeah, because
I actually think with
Shanghai
Viper
has a
playing the
couple
way
good
he
pieces.
is,
Yep.
I actually think there's some good moments that Shanghai would actually be.
Hisu Sombra,
London.
Viper Tracer, that
Yeah.
shit slaps.
It's I've actually been impressed with it from time to time.
Oh, but the Fleta tank though. With the
That's the
Fleta
balancing
tank?
act, right? The Flitter
Yeah.
tank brings the team down, but then the DPS line is like, holy shit, that actually
yeah,
brings the team up.
it goes wicked.
Okay, all right.
I
Actually,
would be
this is
happy
something that's
to
worth
put
noting as
Shanghai,
well.
London.
I'm looking at this because we need to go back and remember London just beat Toronto.
Like I think London is the more coherent team to Shanghai
Oh.
currently.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, I think maybe we're cooking too much. Maybe London, Toronto, Shanghai
think-
Valiant.
Yeah.
What meta are we playing? Are we playing
agree
like
with that.
Sombra Tracer?
What we just
What
played.
just
Like
happened.
It
right
has
now,
to be. It's
yeah,
literally
well,
just the
dude.
strength of what. It doesn't even. It just has to be
I-
like based on what we just
This
saw.
is-
How
This
does
is shit.
how does Shanghai lose to London if we're playing
because
the
they
current
have
meta?
Flutter on tank. That's the only. That's my
Yeah.
only
Also,
reason.
I don't think they're still playing the Gollum Jin Lucio, right? Or has he been playing mostly Brigida?
No,
I
you
think
play Brig Anna. You play Brig. What Lucio?
Yeah, he's been playing Brigida,
Anna.
which still I don't think is Gollum Jin's best role. I think his Brigida is like
much
fine.
better than his Lucio. Much
Yes,
better
but
than
his Brigida
Lucio.
is fine, but like his real star power is not on. It's on playing flex support. It's not on Brigida. Like I still think the London backline in this meta is honestly like pretty comparable, if not better. On it, no joke. Like, so
All right, I won't fight it.
I think London for me still goes above it because they just feel like a better team, a more complete team. I think if it was like if Shanghai had just shown a little bit more, I probably would have been fine. But they just didn't show it to me enough. Didn't show enough.
Fair enough.
That looks good to
We
me.
happy with the rest?
I am
Okay,
happy with
I
this.
need someone else to say it because otherwise the fans are going to come for me. Are we really? fucking hell. Are we really happy with Dallas at 10? Before I get the fucking army of Dallas Fuel fans coming after me.
I think Dallas at the end of the
they did well in the qualifier
brackets. Right? At the
Would
end
Shock
of the, yeah,
be
at the end
Dallas?
of the,
Is the question, right? Is that the question?
Yeah,
Shock
kinda.
versus Dallas?
yeah, would Shock be Dallas? But I personally think that like Dallas at
They
the end
beat
of the
O2
qualifier brackets.
Blast.
Yeah,
And then
like
they
the
lost
Dallas
to
at the end of the
Infernal
qualifier
twice.
brackets
Yeah.
was good. They were good. Like they looked a lot better. Like I liked. I should have stood firm in that belief that happened like 3-4 weeks ago, where I was like, Dallas they'll improve. Like believe in the rush, and they did.
I didn't watch their later games, so that's sort of why I needed to pose quick. Because like when I left, Dallas was still in the
Dallas are
waters.
Lucio Moira abusers, so that
Yeah.
gives
were
some
they?
bonus points this meta. He's saying proper versus Sparkle Edison. That's a question.
I mean,
mark.
he's saying proper has been so far throughout the first half of the year has been the better DPS duo in my opinion. But I think Edison Sparkle had a much better performance, like I said, in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
So if we're ranking them based off more recent performances, historically, I think I would rather take He's saying proper. But also, I like the Dallas backline more, and I think that
You like MCD Bliss more than
MCD on Moira
Yep.
though.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's the thing. MCD, yeah, MCD's
the way that they're playing the back.
Also, I mean, like, I still don't.
Vin
I
Dan's
mean,
also
even
been tragic,
Finn's
yeah.
been pretty. Yeah, it's been pretty underwhelming, that backline still. Like, so like I like the Dallas backline more. I think I like their synergy. I think the more recent the DPS, it's like kind of like when you look at like that Hanbin, when you look at their tank line. But even
If you want a Zug Zug team, Dallas is a better Zug Zug team.
like
I'm
jumping, like
happy.
pretty much Shock have also they've been cheesing map wins with Orisa, man.
yeah.
They've
I
been
heard
cheesing
that.
map wins with the jump and Orisa. Now the Orisa's been magical. The jump and Orisa has been magical, but overall, I still would take Dallas in the meta. So
Okay, I'm happy. I just like it was the one thing that I was sort of looking at, but yeah, no,
This is a
I
good
actually think
list.
this is pretty good.
I do
Yeah.
want all the Dallas fans to go after you specifically.
They
Yeah,
always
it's-
do. It's
It's
fun.
very funny, honestly.
Yeah, I also think it's funny. It's funny because there's varying ranges of like I'm disappointed in Custa to I never liked Custa or Dallas Fuel anyway. He was the worst player. It
I'm
goes
glad we
from like
traded him.
0 to 100 really quick.
Best thing is, you
I like
hate all the
Dunko
teams
better.
that I love, and then I love Boston, I love Dallas, and then you hate Boston and Dallas. It's honestly the
he
perfect.
hates the blue teams. He hates.
He
the
hates
blue
the blue
teams.
teams.
I
I
just
love
I'm
the
not a
blue
big blue
teams.
fan.
It's perfect.
Well, I'm
Everything's
happy with it. I'm happy with
best
this.
color. Yes, good fucking list.
Okay,
Really
do we need
good-
to put
good power
some
rankings.
tier breaks in, or do we have tier breaks? All right,
No.
I think tier break
I mean,
above Guangzhou.
I think you tear break Infernal Guangzhou.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah,
I think you maybe.
sure.
Do we tier break London as well?
I would
Like
tier
that
break
much- I think
Seoul
that much better
Dynasty.
than-
I would go above Seoul.
London.
Seoul? Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
be happy with that. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that.
Chengdu
Yeah.
just gonna be
Yeah, I
part
mean-
of that.
Yeah.
Solomon's doing
Just leave-
Vegas dirty here.
Yeah,
Leave
just
it, it's funny.
fuck it.
I
Remember,
mean,
it's funny.
theoretically, Vegas doesn't even have a team right now if they're retrialing the whole thing. So they're about
That's
the same
true.
level as
kinda
Chengdu,
true.
technically.
Technically, they have 3 weeks, so yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. But we don't have much time left, so we're going to move on. There's the power ranking bracket. You can screenshot it for Reddit.
Everyone
Put it on
thumbs
Reddit.
up.
Free karma. Free karma.
Wait, I didn't do my thumb. No.
no.
There you go. Free karma for you, you chatters
There
out
you go.
there. Perfect.
Rush it,
Well,
rush
Reddit
it,
is
go, go,
dying
go.
anyway, so get the karma while it fucking lasts. I can't convert it into real life money because being a Reddit mod is not a job. So there you go. All right, 2023 World Cup. Let's move into this before we get into the end of the show and we'll round it out. There's a lot of news surrounding World Cup. We talked a little bit about the Team USA changes, not droppings, just changes. A minute ago, prize pool and then skins are also being dropped. I did want to quickly touch on the skins before we before we move into anything else, because here you go, chat. Do not let Play Overwatch Twitter know about this secret hack for you. If you go into the hero gallery and click unowned in the little filters tab, and then click World Cup, or like click any of the events that are happening, you can see the unreleased skins or like skins that are going to come out later
Well, now
on.
that's gonna get patched.
And-
Thanks, Jack.
Well, look, it's already, people have fucking bought the skins anyway, but you could right now buy some of the Overwatch World Cup skins, because I saw a guy in one of my games who came into my Twitch chat later after the match and was like, "You like my fucking World Cup skins?" And he had every single one of them without unlocking them, which For the time being, I believe you unlock some of them via just watching
By the way,
some of the World Cup
they're in the
games.
shop now,
and
Jack.
they get it
Apparently they're in the
dropped.
shop already. So
Oh, they're in the shop already? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I was fucking lying. Okay, great. But I do know some of the World Cup stuff is via drops. I'm not sure what is via drops, but I know some of it is. But yeah, so there's new skins. You have the orange, which looks kind of wicked on some of the characters.
oh,
the
so
Kiriko
this is what they do with the Philly Fusion skins.
Yeah,
That's why they made Philly rebrand. They wanted to make World Cup
They
orange.
wanted to make World Cup orange. So it's pretty cool. I think the Kiriko one looks kind of wicked. I think she's a very good like base character skin. And I think the orange suits are very, very, very well. One thing they always, I won't say mess up, but it could be a lot better. They do this a lot. Bro, make the World Cup logo bigger as a little like sticker on your goddamn gun, because it looks kind of arse. Like it's
The World
very
Cup logo
small.
is dated. Like when you compare it to the Contenders logo, the Overwatch League logo.
I don't care
World
about it
Heroes
being
logo.
dated. I care about it you actually seeing the goddamn skin on your gun. Like, it looks way better. Also, there is this Sojourn skin, which is easily the best Sojourn skin they're releasing for the character right now. This is the concept art for it, but Ocean Goddess Sojourn. God damn.
Our first ever
Does that look
crowdfunded
sick.
skin, by the way, as well.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the biggest thing. I lost my mind. We finally have a crowd-funded prize. Now, we have a smaller split than others. Like
25% is very low.
It's 25%.
No, 25. That's the same as Dota.
No, Dota's 50% on the compendium, unless it's changed since I played it.
What? It used to be. It's always 25. When was it ever 50?
I was almost certain it used to be 50 back in the day, unless I'm
Go
just
back.
fucking.
No.
I'm
I'm
Googling it
going
right
back
now.
to like 2016 at this
check.
point.
Yeah, dude, I'm going back to like 2011, 2012. That was 25% back then.
I don't know if that's true.
Let's see.
I used to be a Dota
I'm
head.
checking.
Used to be.
I'm checking it right now.
What about the World of Warcraft stuff? Does anybody know what percentage that was
No
before the
idea.
big debacle about that? Toys for...
Oh yeah, currently 25% of all battle pass sales go directly to the prize
Oh,
pool.
25.
Right now
yeah,
for this
that's
year. Yeah,
fair.
I don't know if that changed, but
But also, so I mean, I still think it's small in comparison to like obviously Valorant does 50 for their champ skins. 50% of all the revenue goes to the teams directly. But I guess that is actually in line with the differences. I think also is that the compendium is a much bigger deal, so there's a much higher volume of sales, right, for TI than there would probably be for this skin. But it's either way, I'm happy. I'm very happy about it. I think it's like a cool thing. Like it's something that we've been needing. Like it's one of the direct things, one of those direct pipelines that makes sense for esports. Because like this, it's one of the few ways that you can actually directly monetize esports is developers make a microtransaction, a skin. You buy it, you get a product, and you actually directly support both the game and teams participating in it. Like it is one of the true pipelines that exist in my esports that Overwatch really hasn't utilized that much. Like they've had the team skins for Overwatch League, but they haven't just done like what is arguably I think a better model, which is you release good skins that you just buy and use in the store that support events, you know,
Dude,
versus just team skins.
The last time we had a skin support something this much, it was the Pink Mercy skin. That's how long ago it was.
Right.
You can buy like an account with the Pink Mercy skin for like $15,000 or something.
yeah, pink skins are worth a lot. And like I don't know, it's just one of those things that's like, yeah, as I said, we can talk about the nitty gritty of it, but it is just a good thing. Like it is absolutely a step in the right direction. There are some people who are like, oh, they're just gonna remove the prize pool that like so Blizzard doesn't have to pay as much. So you know they ended up winning. People just are negative Nancy's anything to do with Blizzard.
Scott, I will give a little bit of thought to that comment because this has technically happened before.
But
with the
World Cup, you barely got
Warcraft
any
stuff.
prize pool anyway. It wasn't about the prize pool. They gave you like a little bit of cash. It was like a few thousand, $1,000 a player or something like 2,000 a player or something like that. It like
No, but,
people
like,
aren't getting a
that's-
prize pool anyway.
No, but like that scenario literally happened with World of Warcraft. So they subtracted the money from the prize pool that they earned from the toy sale in WoW. And so they basically were like, oh, it's crowdfunded. However, we're not going to tell anybody, but we're just taking our portion of the prize pool back and we're putting forward the crowdfunded portion in replacement. And like that was what I think people may be worried about. Do I think that's going to happen again? Fuck no. Fuck
Better not.
no.
If they're going to
Different-
take it to only put a 25 split on it, then they can't take away their prize.
Yeah,
pool, right? Like,
different management, obviously, but I do want to give credence to that like thought. But the likelihood of that happening is extraordinarily slim, but there has been a weird thing in the past where they have put money towards from a crowdfunding thing towards the actual prize pool, which didn't end up working out the way people kind of read it and like hoped it would. But I think any kind of prize pool that is crowdfunded is a good thing. But people are going to complain. Again, it's Overwatch. Everybody expects everything to be free. So like people are going to complain. That's just how it fucking is. But yeah, no, it's a cool fucking skin. And it's one of the best skins for fucking Sojourn. Like what?
Well, we technically haven't seen the actual skin yet, right?
I mean, just on the concept art alone, bro. Like, come on.
But yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the rest of the Sojourn
skins. It's exciting. So I think it's something good. I mean, I'm more excited just because of what it means of like in the future. Because theoretically, if the league, let's say with Chengdu exiting and the Glad's potentially exiting, we go to a more open circuit. We convince partners to stay. Well, it's like, okay, well now we're just going to be releasing skins for events, and you can fund the prize pool for the events, right? Like it opens up that Dota-ish model and that Valorant model in a way for like all of our events moving forward, right? And that's like exciting because the overall, if you release a good skin, the casual fan base of Overwatch would still potentially buy a good skin that doesn't have anything to do with competitive Overwatch, right? Even though that skin, the product of it would still go to fund a prize pool for esport product, right? So to me, that's the same value of the compendium for Dota. A lot of people that don't really care about TI buy the compendium because it gives you good value from if you play the game a lot, you know, like it's something they want to have. So like that to me is like that one pipeline that actually makes sense for esports, and like why I like this model of like you make good skins that support prize pools that are generic versus team skins. Team skins are tough unless the team skins are unique and interesting, because sometimes they're just like the recolors of a hero, and it's like what's really like the appeal, you know? There isn't really like a ton of appeal for that esport pipeline, because like frankly, like the individual ownership of like team branding is still not strong enough in the digital world, and there's a far greater audience that will purchase skins that are good versus skins that are just looking to buy team skins essentially.
Rainbow Six had a pretty good like integration with the teams and like making them unique. Like the weapon skins were very flavorful in terms of team to team to team. That's probably the best way you can do it. Overwatch doesn't really have that. We don't have like CS or like Rainbow Six level like customization. Ours is more like palette swaps, and with the bigger skins like the epic and legendary skins, it's not really been introduced to like the Overwatch esports ecosystem, apart from like the tournament skins, but they're not like necessarily player or like team based. Actually no, that's a lie, they have been team based previously.
Also, I have to say it, like what,
tournaments.
like is Sojourn's thighs always been like that? Like,
yes.
Am I going crazy here?
No, they've always been like that.
Like this cosplay is ridiculous.
The one on the right is
it is
quite
insane.
Out of hand.
It is quite insane.
Holy shit! Like that's crazy. But I just got like, okay, we gotta move on.
On set up, baby.
But like
Let's
that
go.
is fucking some wild shit right there. The artists are gonna go crazy for that. What are the group stages?
Let's get on to the group stages, because we cannot go further into this. It's going to get like decrepit at this point. Okay, let's bring out the groups. I did see a funny group screenshot actually from a couple of days ago. It was like Korea versus just some where the hell is it? Was it Korea versus Team India or something ridiculous? Oh no, it might have been something else that I've seen. But anyway, like Korea being in Group A is just unbelievable. Like unbelievable. That team should get a free buy, because goddamn, they are just going to roll through the entirety of that group.
Both USA and Korea are going to roll through whatever group they have.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean,
now, people are voting. People thought that Canada was going to clap US. The community narrative had started. Everyone was like, Canada's got in the bag, and I'm like, guys, Canada, unfortunately, it's just not going to have. Okay, little bro, sit down. Little bro,
who's even on Canada? Who's on Canada?
Seeker, Crimzo, both very good players. They have, I think it's like False, who pretty solid.
Man, Note's not playing. Oh.
No, Note is not playing. Note wanted to be GM, but he just didn't put in his. Apparently, he didn't put in his any of his paperwork in time, which sounds about right.
I want to forewarn people, because I think there's a lot of people who are really excited for these Overwatch World Cup qualifiers, and that's great because there's so much fun narrative stuff that happens. But if you haven't watched the World Cup qualifiers before, these games are incredibly one-sided most of the time. The best games come from minor regions who are like playing against each other. It's not the top Overwatch, but it's just fun because a lot of people just do weird shit. So that's what you should look out for, rather than like the USA and the Korea matches aren't going to be interesting to watch.
If you scroll down a little bit, Solomon, just to show the matches for this group. Yeah, so like any match that has Korea in it, you can watch it. It might be fun, but those games aren't going to be close. I mean, even Team Japan is fielding an entire roster of a team from a Team VARL.
Yeah, they played in Contenders APAC.
Yeah, so even Team Japan are fielding a full team. So even those games, I mean, probably not the Team Japan versus Team Korea. Team Korea are probably going to stomp them, but the Japanese team probably looks pretty good in this bracket too. They also might be one to just stomp through. It might be like a Korea first, Japan second in Group B.
Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah. Because I don't like Philippines, Hong Kong, Indonesia. There's like no players realistically. Many years ago, Taiwan and Hong Kong had some decent players, but in 2023, not really.
Well,
the
didn't
case.
Taiwan they had like Bacon Jack and stuff, right?
Yeah, they had the old Flash Wolves roster way back
Oh,
when.
Flash Wolves, yes.
Just remember them? Yeah.
Holy moly. Yo, Mango Jai is actually playing for Team Hong Kong. They played a few that they played.
Mango Jai's won Contenders before,
2019, right?
so he's
yeah.
So, I mean,
well.
we're so obviously South Korea is making it out of their group. You know,
South Korea and Japan for sure.
Well, how many make it out? So 3 make it out of that group.
3 make out of this group. And then it might be a toss-up for the third place, but Hong Kong has always been a decent team in the past.
so only Group B. So Group B, there's only 2 that make it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Australia and New Zealand getting cucked again.
What are we getting cucked
And
by?
by the way, Group B is more competitive because Thailand still fields like reasonably okay teams. India has like Pummy and Akash, I think.
Oh, really?
Look at the rosters. Look at the rosters.
Kosh,
Yeah, there you
Pummy. Okay.
They got to be on ping though, so that might be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine they're both playing from an A, so
Yeah.
like that's that. There's no
Yeah,
way. they're going
that's
back to
actually
India
so
to play.
interesting. They don't have many people that like actually like represent like India, like on their Wikipedia at least. Like they're obviously
Bro, the World Cup 2019 roster for India had such sick fucking names.
Yeah,
Primal
9-man,
Mage,
2K.
Primal Mage
Hunter.
is wicked.
Whoa!
Okay,
DJ
buddy.
Destiny.
DJ
These
Destiny.
what is this shit?
We need to go back to
Names.
gamer names like this. We need to go back, bro. They sound
We
way
must go
better.
back. We must
All
go
Indian
back.
players are going to Vancouver. Wait, all of those players are going to Vancouver and they're boot camping in Vancouver.
Oh,
they're
that's
taking
cool.
this shit
That's
full
That's
advantage.
awesome,
Fucking
bro.
Awesome.
I mean, honestly, I would love, even though I don't think it's gonna happen because I'm pretty sure New Zealand and Australia are gonna be, the top.
They
of
should
this
make
group.
it out.
But
Yeah.
like, India is definitely a country where it'd be sick to see them have
I
a
could
great
see
World Cup
that
performance.
if they're taking it that seriously and you look at that roster, like, and they have good players and they're actually like they have a bunch of contenders players, I could absolutely see India making it out. Like
Do
that,
the
they
full-
might
show
be that
all the
team.
rosters. Do the
Yeah.
full Group B show rosters.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Australia and New Zealand though have like a lot of like.
Did New Zealand
they have,
have a good team? I'm not like I
Have a look.
genuinely
Have a
don't.
look. Have a look. Have a look.
Look,
They
they
have
have color
no-
hex. They have color hex pretty much. But I mean,
They
Australia
have
has
Hex,
been playing.
JCap.
They have color.
Jacob's good.
They've
Yeah,
all been
like
playing in
Jacob's
contenders
around.
and stuff though. They've all been
August.
playing
August is
contenders.
August is good. August just qualified into the next Owl Open, by the way, alongside Frogger. So
Yeah.
fun fact:
On Frogger's team, yeah.
contenders in contenders Australia, 2 teams qualify, and August and Frogger qualified through. So Frogger's going to be playing potentially versus our teams. Maybe
This might be
possibly.
a good group. This group looks pretty good actually.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
I
curious
think
to
so.
see who comes
there's a,
out.
There's a bit of that Thailand team has a few names on it, but some.
I mean,
really
I
old
remember
players
the
as
only
well.
one I remember off the top of my head that I've known in the past is Oputo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember Aputo as well.
Yeah.
Singapore's had a little bit of a drama in the roster,
Wait,
unfortunately.
really?
Yeah, they cut like 5 They cut like the majority of the roster. They had some major internal issues between like the coaching staff, John Galt, and some of the players. They have a star player on the team, Soggy, who's currently on the best Australian contenders team, and like there was some issues with the team where some players wanted to take it seriously, others didn't, and then all the players that wanted to take it seriously got binned apparently. So now they have a full fun team. So Singapore might unfortunately be one of the bottom teams in this group.
It's such a good gig to like for like if you're a team, like because if you get top 16, so if you qualify, you get an automatic flight to BlizzCon. Like that's crazy that you like lock that in, and you get cash. Like there's a minimum like for qualifying, you get that. Like it's worth committing for, and it's awesome to see. Like I remember in 2019, some player came up to me, and he was from some like I want to say it was like Puerto Rico or like. He was from some random, like some country that I was like, wow, you're here? He's like, yeah, our entire team flew out to play the wild card and stuff like that. Like people really get like hype behind the World Cup. I'm excited for it to be back. Bro.
All right, well, we don't need his ass anyways, man.
Yeah.
We don't need his ass anyways.
Is there anything else about World Cup? Do we need to, are we previewing any other regions?
We haven't really done, so did we
like
predict?
NA and stuff?
So we're predicting New Zealand, Australia out of there. We're predicting.
No, I'm going Australia and India.
Australia, India? Okay, fine. Australia, India for Custa, fair.
I just don't know. I just don't know how the ping.
I don't know how
good
good Thailand is.
I would still personally go Australia, New Zealand myself.
I think they might get ping diffed because they're gonna play on like Southeast Asia servers, and even from Vancouver they might get ping diffed.
I mean, I would say, and then for this group, I'd take South Korea and I guess probably Japan.
Yeah, I think Japan.
If Japan's taking it the most serious, like they're the only team with like a full team, like unless they're just like hard outmatched, like they should.
That's another region. God, I wish we could ever have activated Japan like they did in Valorant. I wish we could have ever activated Japan in Overwatch, man.
You look at Masters Tokyo.
Threw them by the wayside. You remember Brazil? Like they like activated Brazil like crazy, and then they just threw them away. Like
you remember when we activated France? Do you remember when France got activated?
Yeah, France getting activated. Like, and then what's let's go to the. We need to do Europe and Middle East as well, and then
Americas.
I mean, it's going to be USA, Canada.
USA, Canada, straight up.
If it's not USA,
is
Canada,
there 3 teams or 2 teams?
No, I think it's 3. So we need to, one more.
So who's the third team?
Let me see.
Honestly,
I have no idea. I got nothing for
I don't know any of these players, but listen. But based off of FPS history only, I'm going Mexico.
I'm going Puerto Rico based off the fact they have one play with a link on Wikipedia and the rest of the names are red.
Yeah, but Mexico is coached by Nomi. Have you considered that?
I'm going for Puerto Rico because I believe in Papa Joe.
Papa Joe.
There's a guy on that thing called Papa Joe. Let's go, Papa Joe.
Papa Joe.
Oh yeah, Nomi's got.
What do we got for staff on the other teams? Any known peoples?
I don't. I mean, Canada's got Tickety and stuff like that, but it used to be on Dallas Fuel.
Dude, how come XQC's not on this Canadian roster?
That's crazy. They couldn't afford to buy up 100 million.
Doesn't he play for Team Canada every year? No.
All right, what do we got?
Ludwig plays for Brazil.
Ludwig!
Let's go,
Ludwig!
Bro, there's not a single contenders player in any of these groups.
No, dude, like fucking the South America. We left South America to die in Overwatch. I mean, like that is that's one of our biggest. We personally did, but like that's one of our biggest fumble. Oh yeah, EQO is technically on Colombia.
Colombia.
That's right.
Let's go Colombia.
But like I don't know. I mean, I think for me, I honestly am going to take. We probably take like the larger regions.
I'm going Brazil and Colombia.
I would take Brazil. Historically has been the best region.
Yeah, I would take Brazil obviously for one, and then like I mean Colombia has EQO, but like. I don't know. I'm kind of like I think it's just I'm Valorant pilled. I kind of want Argentina. I think that's why. I can't tell you the reason. But I want Argentina.
Leviathan believer.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It's just Valorant. But
that's good. Yeah.
Based on South America and historically, probably Argentina next. Yeah. I don't hate it.
Whoa.
Okay. Europe's got 3. We get 3 from this, right?
2.
Yeah.
3 and 2. All right.
I mean, you definitely get. I think you definitely get
UK?
Denmark and UK.
Yeah,
and then
UK.
France?
Probably France.
Okay, well, I know. Ones we can write off. We can write off Italy. Sorry, Italy, you're not making it. Portugal, you're not making it. Spain, you're not making it.
Netherlands could have a run.
It leaves Netherlands, Belgium, UK. But I don't think Belgium. I don't think has enough firepower on it. It's just logics essentially. So I think Belgium's out. But I think it's UK or Netherlands.
I think UK clears Netherlands.
What Denmark? It's 3 teams, isn't it?
Yeah,
3
Denmark,
teams.
France are 2 of them. So we're selecting.
I think France could struggle.
You think France could lose to the UK or Netherlands?
Because think about it, like you're looking at, they have 2 our players in Poco, not really, but like they can only play one of those tanks.
They have essentially 3, and Nico has previous experience too. Like I think France should be fine.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's like you're gonna have one like Ava or pack. Like I guess Ava's like
I take France over Netherlands, and I have UK, France, Denmark. Those are my 3.
yeah. I'd go UK, France, Denmark as well. I think I went for the sake of arguing. I think Netherlands could surprise people though.
See, that's the thing. I like the Netherlands tank line. I think A10 has had pretty good performances in the past. I don't know as much the others, but like I think I'd probably still take UK. So I think it should be Denmark, UK, France.
Yeah, I
personally.
agree. Just looking at name value.
By the way, how old is Smex? Is this guy's been around for ages?
He's like
right?
43, I think.
Yeah, this guy's like 50 years old, I think.
I would say, I mean, he's genetically 40s, and then perhaps appearance wise, he's been aged by other things. So like, I don't know. I think it should be those teams though.
This
What's
should
the
be
other
like
group?
who's the French player, the tank player? Was he on Team Eagle or
one?
something like that?
Oh, you're talking
super
about
old guy.
this is why we need Johnny. No, I know exactly who you're
Team
talking. Fuck.
Eagle.
I know.
Was it Super Fluke?
No.
Or is that a main support?
No, you're talking about the guy who played on
Nox.
Oh, Nox?
Nox. Yeah.
Nox? I don't know where he's at. I think he's moved on from. I don't think he does.
He's still
esports
playing
anymore.
I know. He's 35. Sorry, I'm not trying to be ageist. It's just he's an
Wow,
old
he's
player.
Nox has a.
He's
I think Nox has a kid
35,
too.
yeah.
So
probably.
Yeah.
let's what's the other group? There's one more, right? There's
Yeah.
the there's this
Two-
one. Okay.
So two teams.
Saudi
Saudi Arabia, pretty easy. I mean, personally, it'd be me. It's gonna be Saudi Arabia and
Sweden?
Yeah. I think
Kevster
Sweden will just hard pound because of Kevster Sparker, and like Lolchich was a very good tank player, but I think the outside track is Finland, because like
Sauna,
they have
Cloudy,
a very good they got a good team.
Oh,
think
but
those are gonna be
Masters
the
on this team. Masters
Oh,
back.
yeah. Masters
What
too.
happens if the meta like hard favors Finland? Like what happens if they're just able to play
hard
Reinhardt
ride.
May every way? Like they might be able to
Hard
just play
ride
Reinhardt May, and then like Saudi Arabia, they might just play Farah everywhere. Like that. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if Saudi Arabia did that regardless a lot of times but like I think that like Saudi Arabia has enough flexibility though, because like after watching Twisted Minds play, I'm pretty confident in Saudi actually. I think Saudi's actually going to be a pretty good squad.
I agree. I think they might make top 8.
Quartz
meta fits
is our level. He would have been our this year, but he like didn't take any offers.
Yeah.
This dude's our level for sure.
I think a bunch of these players are good. Like I think as long as the meta doesn't go against them, I can see them making top 8.
But we're
potentially.
locking in Saudi, Sweden.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, for sure.
That's how I feel.
Is it crazy to think that Saudi might be better than Sweden here? Like number 1, number 2 seed?
It's not ridiculous.
Because I think Saudi's
we have the
team
control cam. Look at that, Solomon. Yo, there it is.
Not Jaws.
Oh, there's not Jaws. There's not Jaws. Wow. You know what?
Dude,
Honestly,
hang on. I know this guy. Is this the guy from Deal or No Deal that does the money? This is the banker from Deal or No Deal? Or
the
no?
banker. Yeah, this is the banker right here. We're getting the banker point of view. Honestly, is anyone else just feeling like the podcast is better now that Jaws is gone? You know, like
There's less complaining about ranked. That's for sure.
I think,
any other
that's the end of
any other World Cup regions?
That's pretty much the end of it for World Cup. I think. I mean, we've gone through. I mean, like we went through the Team USA stuff. There's nothing else on the group stage because if they go through here, then they're going to the top 16 and go automatically to BlizzCon, right? Oh, okay.
Wait, does China auto qualify?
For top 16, yes.
Yes.
Right, just give Korea all qualify. I don't know why
That's
Korea
what I'm
has to
saying.
play.
Like, I don't know. They could have done it for USA and Korea, but it's whatever. You know. Then that's
I mean,
not the point
also,
where you
like,
draw
let's
the line.
be honest. For a lot of the European teams, historic, like, there just isn't any reason for like some of the like squads like Denmark to be like having to play at all. But like, you know, it is what it is. I understand why, at least, because like I do think personally, in a more like active environment, like they would have had like the qualifiers include everyone. Like China would be in the qualifiers too, right? And then like because like what's the point of some teams not having to go through qualifiers and others do it? Like, you know, like why would China not be participating?
Why didn't
like,
China get a free pass?
Because of the whole, I think it's because of the whole NetEase deal. The game's not available in their country. It would be.
I mean, that's
really
cool,
interesting.
but they have a team who's currently playing Overwatch.
Yeah,
League.
but you know, I'm sure there is a very good reason why, and it also like if for the people who are actually complaining about it, it doesn't matter. Team China would clear. Hongzhou Spark just made it to the top 6 of fucking mid-season madness.
Obviously, I'm just saying, like, you know, if we're gonna give China a free pass, Korea definitely should get a free pass.
I think
he's back.
It had nothing to do with quality of team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
I can't believe it. He's made it back, huh?
Yeah,
We just
that's
got the
great.
World Cup. We just got the World Cup without you, so.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What happened?
You had a fish
went
through
through
your
World Cup.
cable, or?
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Italiano. We
Where's
know
you
where
guys
Jack's
wanna go?
going
Where's
in
you
this
guys wanna
World
go?
Cup.
Where you want to go? England? Okay, there we go.
Get ready to learn, Chinese. I saw Chinese down there.
Yeah, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. There he is.
Hey.
There he is. Well,
back.
we
What's
finished,
up,
we
everybody?
finished our World Cup draws without you. Do you want to hear what we picked?
Okay. Go on then. What you pick?
All right. For Europe, we picked Saudi Arabia, Sweden.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds about right.
For North America, the other group of Europe, we picked France, Denmark, UK.
Okay, yeah. Denmark,
And then
definitely.
North America, we all kind of picked
Canada.
different shit, honestly. It was Canada, US, where the two make it out, and then but there's three. Canada, US make it out because there's three makes it out of the US and North
Oh,
America.
right, yeah.
And North
Then we
America. I should
picked a
say.
random third
And then we
team,
all
like-
picked different teams on
It's
that. Like
between
I picked
Costa Rica,
Mexico,
Guatemala, Mexico, and Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
So-
I think it should be Mexico just because Mexico,
Mexico makes sense.
Mexico has a history of
Looking at the
FPS.
team.
Yeah,
at
it makes
least,
sense. You haven't
and-
even seen the roster.
Well, yeah, but we haven't seen any of the rosters. I'm just saying from
makes sense.
FPS
No, I'm talking about
history.
yours.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes sense.
for-
We do know the
yeah,
roster.
makes
What do you
sense.
mean?
Okay.
We do. What? It's on the fucking Wikipedia. What do you mean?
He's looking at it right now. Okay. You're saying he's
All
done
right,
to do his
all right,
research?
all right. Okay.
Then
I'm
from
looking at it
South
right now.
America, we had Brazil, and then we were kind of split. I wanted Argentina, but I can't remember if we.
I think it's
I-
Colombia.
I said,
I think I went for
I said
Colombia.
Argentina. I said Argentina.
Okay. So there we go.
Oh,
Brazil,
Colombia,
Argentina.
EQO. Yeah, I'll go with
Yeah,
EQO.
but I don't know. I just think that surely they can't just win off of one guy that hasn't even been playing Overwatch since leaving
I
the
don't
league.
know.
No
I
idea.
don't
Oh,
know.
dude, Brazil have Ludwig. Yeah, okay, maybe.
Yeah, they got Ludwig.
They got Ludwig.
Well, yeah.
They got Ludwig. Okay, maybe they win actually.
And
Ludwig's
then
pretty good.
OCE, we have Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Custa saying maybe India. In
I
there
think
as well.
India's a dark horse to come out of
India's
that.
India could
apparently
go
going to
crazy.
Vancouver to play,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
I
And
still
then-
don't think they
Who
make
else?
it though. Australia, New Zealand makes sense. And then
That's
what,
I think that would make the list. But
Korea,
it'd be cool.
Hong
Oh yeah, then we have
Kong,
Korea
Japan?
and I think it's Japan. Korea,
Yeah,
Japan.
Korea.
There's
Japan.
three.
Korea,
there's
Hong
three.
Kong,
We didn't
Japan.
pick the third.
Maybe Hong Kong then, just because they
Yeah,
have at least more known players.
I guess. Yeah, I'll take Hong Kong.
It's a hard one. This is another Colombia Puerto Rico situation.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
we're
what I'm
just
saying?
throwing stuff at a wall.
Okay.
Because it's between them or Singapore probably.
No.
Yeah.
Singapore is bottom of the pack.
Or
I
are they
promise
just
you.
are they dunzo? They're out of
Singapore
it.
is a team that's given up. I promise you.
All right, hear me
Okay.
out though. Someone from the Philippines is called
Oh,
Pug
Philippines
Butt.
actually. Maybe Philippines. I don't know.
I believe
What?
in Pug Butt.
Pogba. That's a good name.
But
right.
historically, I think Hong Kong has had better teams, right?
Yeah,
So-
for sure. Mango Dry's good
Yeah.
too.
Well, look at
Oh
South
wait,
Korea's
IRP
roster,
is
bro.
playing for Team Hong
Dude,
Kong.
the South Korea roster comparatively.
It's just so good.
There's no way IRP is playing for Hong
Who's
Kong. That is
IRP?
crazy.
Wait,
He's
really? Is that
He's
actually
a
up?
Moira one trick on ladder. He's
Yeah, he's the
he-
North American Warrior.
No,
Rogue.
that can't
He's
be the
a-
same person.
That cannot. Click
No,
on that.
it-
Can you click on it?
Wait,
click on
I'm
that name.
You can't
no,
click on the
I'm
name. It's
pretty
red.
sure
Ah.
that is.
No, they.
But
I
aren't
don't.
they? Isn't Erp aren't they like Finnish or something? Am I crazy?
I don't know. I
I
don't
need
know.
confirmation, but if that's the one trick
Bad
Moira
Patchy
player,
says it is.
It
no
is.
way.
It is the
Oh,
Moira,
it
and I
is
trust Bad Patchy
IRP. No,
No
way.
way. It's a-
Legend
Oh
of the
my
Moira one
God.
trick. Let's go.
I mean, okay, we gotta get Hong Kong. It's gotta be Hong Kong
Hong
with this.
Kong for
It has to be.
sure.
He's on par with ML7's Ana. Erp's best ranking was #2 in the US.
Whoa, who said he's on par with Emilsa? They're just fucking with people.
And
Yeah.
many people would surrender as soon as they saw him on the enemy team. Maybe they mean when he got him on your team. Maybe that's what
Yeah,
they're
many
saying.
people on his team also
Oh,
surrendered.
this is crazy.
I mean,
He's not
I-
afraid to try new things and break the mold. What do you mean? He just plays Moira.
plays
But
every Moira
the
and-
caption, is he's saying he's lived a full life. This is about his Overwatch ladder. He's lived a full life on Overwatch ladder as Moira. Oh my god.
that is
I
very
hope they
good.
win, bro.
Oh,
I
dude,
really
every like 20 game hours of Moira on the
Oh,
ladder is
many
20
top
years.
streamers,
20
including
years
Aimbot,
in real
Calvin,
life.
Jake, and Seagull, admire him.
So
Yo,
true.
good.
So
So
true.
true.
So
Damn.
true here, Team Hong Kong.
Passionate is one way to describe it for sure. That guy
Bro, they're just-
is very
that's
loud.
brilliant.
It's very funny.
Okay, this is actually one of the greatest pieces of content I've ever seen for a World Cup.
No fucking way.
He's
Well,
only
they're
been
making
late
out.
once, too.
Wow, that's impressive. That's
Wow.
good.
I mean, honestly, better than everyone else on this podcast
This
so
is
far.
this is the
I've
guy
been
that
late
really
once
gets his
today.
money tricks from.
I can't get over lived a full life. He's been playing Moira ladder and rings. He lived a full life. My God. Oh, no way.
Oh my god.
No way on earth. Oh my God.
that is a full life. That is a full
Yo,
life.
he's a cat
And
guy.
slowly
Let's
save
go.
up to buy a cozy little house
Hey,
for
that's
him
why you
and
gotta
his
buy the
cats.
Overwatch World Cup skins. So you can buy
Yeah,
a cat,
true.
a house for
Support
his cat.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, this slow pace playstyle.
Oh my God. Okay.
Goated video. Well done, Team Hong Kong. All right, let's move on to the last section now.
I
All
got a
right.
guy. I know someone for
Bren's
this.
player of the week. I have one too, Avril, if you would care.
It's gotta be Mr. 100 mil himself, XQC. You know.
Oh, just
I think
collecting
it's gotta
the
be-
bag.
Yeah, it's
The
too
100
big,
mil.
man. Look, this he's an Overwatch used to be an Overwatch League player. You know. By the way, Scott, how does it feel? You used to play with him like 5 years ago, and now he just copped 100 mil.
It could have been you.
That's fact.
We,
It could've been you, huh?
I don't think
What can
it
you
could
tell
have
us?
been.
What can you tell us
I don't know if I
tell
have
us
the
about your
chops for that.
time? You also played them on Arc 6. Tell us about your time being with Mr. 100 mil himself.
All right. Oh, okay. I remember the first day. I told this story to Jack recently. The first day we moved into the Dallas housing, he's streaming and he puts in the Discord, "Hey guys, my food's here. Can someone pick it up for me?" He expected someone else on the team was gonna go get his food and bring it to his apartment, and that's the difference. The man just wants to stream and he has the chops, and this is why he's 100 millionaire at this point. Like he's just different. He's just different. Johnny has better stories because he lived with him. I
That is
don't
a
know if I can
dumb,
do that.
That's right, yeah.
stupid amount of money. Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
a good tweet.
Yeah, this
actually.
Johnny
What-
does.
I-
there
What
it
a
is.
room, dude.
I think
Holy
And the
XQC
crazy part is his
replied
room's
or
not that
quote
different now.
tweeted, and he was like, respect or some shit. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
just
just saw this.
yeah.
Era changed
This
his
era
life.
changed the
It's
game.
the game.
This era changed
There it
the game.
is. Never forget.
Oh man! I mean, and the crazy part is that guy got a $100 million deal, and there's no way. And even before that, he was like making so much money.
Non-exclusivity as well.
And his room,
Yeah,
and his room
non-exclusive.
probably looked the same regardless, even with the money. Like the room's
Yeah.
gonna
Yep.
be the same level of cleanliness.
No, someone's just gonna get him to pay someone to clean his. He's got rich
It's
money.
crazy.
Money coming out of his ears.
It's crazy.
Oh my god!
Did you see as well that he has like a McLaren, but he only just got his license?
That is ridiculous.
Unable to drive his supercar.
By the way,
The insurance payments on that must be astronomical.
Oh, ridiculous!
Before we
Knowing
move
him,
to
he
the
might
Jack's
actually be
option, I got one more. It's a bonus one.
Okay, go
If
on.
it's not XQC, let's give it to Fran, because like I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Bro, you
I mean,
gotta
come on,
You
bro.
gotta comment on it, bro. You
Okay.
gotta comment
I
on
Let him
it.
cook too much. Okay,
no,
congratulations,
he
XQC
cooked-
Player of the
He
Week.
cooked too much.
Overwatch TMZ
no,
mod.
Jaws, I thought Jaws had one
TMZ
too.
mod. I
Did he
do
one?
have one. It's not Overwatch rated, but Smosh just bought the rights to Smosh. Yes, that's right. They didn't own the brand Smosh because of some
the fuck is
dickhead
Smosh?
fucking. Are you serious?
I
There's
don't
no
know.
way.
I'm gonna be honest. I actually
There's
don't
no
know anything
way.
about. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about.
Wait,
Smosh.
really?
It's
really like-
what the fuck is Smosh?
I know
Seriously,
Smosh. I just
it's
haven't-
very,
I haven't watched them
very
for 10 years.
early internet. Yeah, like, but anyway, they were part of an MCM that like was really toxic, and it basically they signed away their whole brand of Smosh, and they made fuck all. The MCM.
Wait, but didn't like
made,
I do know
like-
this much? Didn't Rhett and Link own Smosh? Essentially,
No,
Red
they
and Link own Smosh?
yeah, they saw. Yeah, that's what it saw. I saw like if you go to their if you go to their Twitter, they just announced it says we sold Smosh. Ian and Anthony, the original founders of Smosh, have reunited and bought back the Wildfire brand. We are extremely proud of everything that they bought it from from them.
Right.
Wait, so Red and Link own Smosh? Okay,
They-
what is
oh,
Smosh?
okay.
I need context.
It was
Okay,
just like a
Smosh
YouTube,
was an
a YouTube
early
brand.
a YouTube channel?
Fucking, yeah, like early, like 15 years ago, they did like, oh man, they fucking the cover for the Mortal Kombat song, the Pokemon song and stuff. It's like super early shit. I only knew them from the Pokemon song thing.
It's
and
just
they've
like
been on
early
a few podcasts
YouTuber.
I've watched. Yeah, it's just like early YouTube shit,
yeah.
basically.
But it was a big
But
brand,
anyway,
and like Red
that's-
and Link owned it, and then they sold it.
Yeah,
to
there you
them
go.
Now,
Yeah.
so
They got,
I guess that's
there's a really interesting podcast they did with Cold Ones actually. One of the not Anthony from Smosh, the other guy, but he did a really interesting like podcast, like deep dive on like what happened with Smosh in the early days. It was basically just about like a toxic MCM like owning most of their fucking brand and taking all their money and shit, like very early YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that they own Smosh again.
that's
their
pretty
own
cool.
fucking brand.
It's nice, but
Don't
honestly,
sign
I don't
contracts.
care. Don't care.
That's
I think
fine.
the Kick contract's more exciting.
Yeah,
So I think
true.
we should
yeah,
get XQC.
Kicks.
Yeah,
wins
Misfits
that.
rebranded.
Misfits
That's
logo.
the thing. That
Oh.
also happened.
Pretty
Yeah,
wicked.
we got to rebrand.
Okay, executive decision.
why
Then we're
don't-
gonna
why
get to
does
X.
Why does it look like a shopping bag? Are you guys like a shopping?
Shopping bag.
this-
No,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
the
it
really
kinda
funny part.
does.
I think the really funny part. I want you to go to the Misfits channel, Solomon. I want you to click on the announce video, and I want you to really watch. I want you to watch the announce video here.
Okay.
Just the beginning of it. No. The Misfits Twitter, on their Twitter, not on YouTube. We don't post it on YouTube. So they the rebrand here. So it starts off. It's like, whoa, League of Legends, whoa, like let's
Oh.
esports, like whoa, what the? And everyone's like, whoa, dude, whoa, what? Like that's so
viewers,
esports.
goddamn.
But then, nah. So yeah, we rebranded. But I think it should probably be XQC.
So no Overwatch.
But you guys are so. Is Carl a content creator for Misfits?
Carl's a co-owner of Misfits. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh,
Carl
Jacob.
co-owns
The
Yeah.
rebrand does make Misfits look like a food delivery service. But
It does. Yeah.
It does a little bit.
It also looks like a Jackbox game as well. That's what I couldn't put my finger on.
Oh, it
You know, like the
does, you're
Jackbox logos and
right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be, but yeah, that I think
cool.
it should be XQC. It's the most exciting
think
so.
X Overwatch player.
seriously, yeah.
biggest
Like,
Bren's
bag,
player of the
biggest
week.
bag in the history of live streaming.
Yeah.
This week, the LeBron James of streaming.
He's making more than LeBron, man.
XQC,
Making more than
yeah.
LeBron.
Making more
Crazy
than
stuff.
LeBron James. XQC signing a non-exclusive deal with Kick. There's him eating burger. Epic. That's good for SEO too. XQC. XQC.
John.
Oh my god.
Alright.
There you go. Post that on the fucking Overwatch TMZ or Comp Overwatch. Bren's player of the week is XQC for a $100 million deal. Fuck you guys.
Fuck
talking
are
about?
you guys talking about? Johnny in the Plat Chat. Johnny, you missed it, huh? You missed a lot. You missed a lot, buddy. Once again, another person's podcast doing boring things like getting married and finding happiness at external of their career and things. Like honestly, like why aren't you living a full life as Moira on the
Full
ranked
life
ladder?
is Moira in rank.
Why aren't you doing that instead? Just classic
So true.
mistakes.
That's it for us this week. Make sure you use code PlatChat 20% off at manscaped.com. But that's it. I mean, Johnny's not going to be here, so we have free reign over the podcast because we can say and do whatever the hell we want. It's going to be a good time. Johnny's going to be away, and Connor's going to be in LA in the next couple of days. So that's going to be fun too.
Yay!
Live episode of Plat Chat maybe incoming, probably not though. But other than that, Jaws say no. I've not said it this much. I've not said it this much during this podcast. I don't think Johnny's normally here to keep me in
You
check.
do
but I'm
be
the host now.
swearing.
Yeah, I also stopped saying that. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he did it. Close it out.
End the
Close up
podcast.
End the
Close it
podcast.
out. Leave. Everybody
His
go do
final
your
word
jobs.
had a- had
Leave.
the F word in it.
Leave. Go do whatever you need to do in your life.